Hawk Reed, are you willing to be my slave? Countless questions appeared in Hawk's mind, but the first and the most prominent one was, who the hell is this person? However, before he could ponder much about the things, Alger's angry voice sounded. What the hell are you thinking about? Answer the damn question. Do we even know who the master is? You are making him wait. Master? A new thought appeared inside Hawk's mind. He already knew that there was someone powerful who supported Marquis Alger from the shadows. Is this person sent by them? That is the only reason Alger will respect him so much. He then glanced at the masked man, who looked more like an assassin, but did not think too much about it. Hawk Reed, are you willing to be my slave? Not willing to wait any longer, Nux questioned again. This time his tone was stricter. Is he asking me to work for him? That's a weird way to put it. Well, whatever. Yes. As soon as Hawk replied, he felt a peculiar energy entering his body. He then frowned and thought about what this energy was before he glanced at Nux. He did not what it was, but from the timing he was sure that it has something to do with Nux. You don't have to think too much about it. Just be loyal to me and everything will be fine. However, rather than explaining, Nux turned around and left. Approximately 2 hours later, Nux prepared everything and his face turned solemn. It was now the time for the final step. Although he wasn't really scared, he still wanted his plan to succeed. His gaze then moved in a certain direction as he then glanced at Alger, who nodded his head as well. The two of them walked in a certain direction of the mansion, and then a wide, dark hallway appeared. It looked very spooky. The further they walked, the darker it got. However, with his sense, he had no problem with his vision. Alger has already told him that there are no guards here. It were the assassins who told him not to place any guards. It affects their movement, they say. Soon, Nux and Alger appeared in front of a simple wooden door, and the two of them nodded to each other. Bam! Nux then wrapped his arm around Alger's neck before he kicked the door open and entered. As soon as the door was slammed open, more than 20 assassins wearing skin-tight black clothes and masks appeared in front of Nux and Alger. Soldiers of Banner Main House, don't waste your life points pointlessly and surrender. Your Marquis dared to harm our young master in the wilderness. He will have to pay. But I know you are just soldiers and innocent. I am a good man. Surrender and I will let you live. But I am warning you beforehand, don't try doing anything funny because you are already surrounded by our army. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Yah! As soon as he said that, countless stomps and soldiers' excited roars were heard, signaling that they were indeed surrounded. One, the leader of these assassins, looked at Nux with his icy blue eyes. She was quick to notice a few words he said. First, he called them soldiers, not assassins. So most probably, the man does not know about the kingdom supporting them. She then glanced at Alger, and his mouth moved. I have a plan. One's mouth twitched in frustration. This man was using them to get rid of his enemies. The thing about harming our young master, he must be talking about Marquis Longe's son. Then this must be a Marquis attack, and Alger knows that if he uses his army, the loss will be terrible. He was using them to avoid his loss. However, she still did not understand one thing. If they fight with these soldiers, the commotion will ensue, and after they win easily, the kingdom will learn about their strength. However, the names in Cultivation of the soldiers they submitted were not supposed to have this sort of strength. This will put them under the eyes of the kingdom, and their movement will be severely restricted. What is this man thinking? Is he trying to betray the kingdom? No, he cannot. He will be killed for betraying the Skyfall kingdom as well. She then glanced at Alger, and he repeated the same words he did before. Trust me, I have a plan. While one was looking around, thinking about every possibility and also planning her next moves, Nux was also looking at her with his eye of discerning. Name, Thyra Cruz. Age, 44. Mana cultivation, Grand Master. Body cultivation, mortal. Race, human. Occupation, assassin of Banner Main House. Talent, high. LVL, 49. HP, 600/600. MP, 860/860. STR, 59. AGL, 66. VIT, 60. STM, 61. INT, 86. DEF, 53. Thyra. She's almost at the expert stage. Strong. I might be able to defeat her, but with all these assassins around, it will make things tougher. I need high-level skills. Nux then shook his head. He was on a mission right now. He should not think about things like these. Soldiers of Bannermain House, surrender. Thyra then glanced at Alger and he mouthed, "Do what he says." He won't be able to live if he betrays kingdom either. I don't think he's stupid enough to risk offending both kingdoms at the same time. After thinking for a while, Thyra decided to trust him and stepped forward, with both of her hands in the air, signaling her surrender. Seeing their leader, the other assassins also raised their hand in the air and surrendered. Good. Now let me ask you guys again. Are you all willing to be my slaves? Thyra frowned as she noticed the change in the question. She then glanced at Alger, who was looking at her with a serious expression. Hey, what are you two signaling each other for? You think you can fool me? I will ask you again. Are you all willing to be my slaves? If your answer does not please me, I will kill every one of you. Suddenly, Nux noticed Thyra and Alger talking with each other and then placed a dagger on Alger's neck. Alger's eyes widened as he glanced at Thyra. Although he did not say anything, it was clear that he was requesting her to continue her act. Thyra also didn't want to fight the army surrounding them. Since she didn't have much time to think, she nodded and replied, "Yes, I am." "Yes, we are." Seeing their leader, the other assassins also nodded. Suddenly, the assassins felt some weird energy entering their bodies, but before they could think what it was, Nux's voice was sounded, You, and you, I didn't hear your approvals. Are you willing to be my slaves?" Thyra felt something was wrong, but before she could say anything, she heard a voice in her mind. "Stay silent and do nothing. Just stand there like others." As if she had lost control of her body, Thyra was unable to move her body and just stood there. The assassins Nux pointed at were first surprised that he noticed that they did not say yes in this crowd before looking at one to ask him what she wants them to do. Nod. Nux's voice sounded in Thyra's head. Her body moved on its own and she nodded. "Yes, we are." The three of them approved as well and then sensed the energy entering their body. After accomplishing his goal, a big smile appeared on his face. Nux then released Alger, and he stood straight with his head down. Nux then glanced at his status and smiled even more. Today he had gained more than 30 slaves. Good, now let's see my gains. He muttered out loud as he started counting how many assassins there were. The assassins frowned when they saw that he released Marquise Alger. Wasn't he supposed to be his defense here? And why is Marquise Alger standing there like a servant? Why is he not running towards them so he can be safe? Ag! However, before they could think too much, 2 assassins fell to the ground as they howled in pain. Their screams sent shivers down the other assassins' spines. Like the 3 assassins before, all of them were tortured and were pretty much numb to pain. They have never seen their partners scream like that for years, and seeing them grabbing their heads and rolling on the ground while screaming like that, they felt fear. Thyra. Though not afraid, she was still surprised. Her eyes then turned to Nux, who was looking at them with cold eyes. Since this was not the first time he has seen people screaming and howling like that, he was not as surprised as before and managed to keep a straight, cold look on his face. "What have you done to them?" Thyra questioned. "Huh? I was standing here from the start. What could I have done?" Just tell me what you did and don't annoy me, or else your end won't be good," she threatened. Nux blinked in surprise when he heard her. Why isn't she feeling any pain? He questioned inwardly. Did his ability not work on Grandmasters? No, it worked on Algar. Then what is happening? Feeling that he should analyze it a little more, he continued. "Oh, you think you can defeat me? Don't think hiding behind Algar will save you from me. If you annoy me too much, I will kill you even if that results in Algar getting killed." "Ha! You really think you can kill me? I'd like to see you try," Nux challenged with a smirk. Thyra's icy blue eyes turned cold, but just as her hand moved towards her dagger, agonizing pain assaulted her head, and even her, a cold-blooded assassin, fell to the ground as she shrieked in pain. "Ag!" Seeing their leader screaming in pain just like the other two, the other assassin's eyes widened in horror. Thyra, however, did not lose her mind like others. With whatever little thinking ability she was left with, she tried to bite the poison pill she had in her mouth. "Ag!" However, just as she thought about it, the agonizing pain increased to a horrific degree as the poison pill fell out of her mouth and she kept shrieking in pain. "Ah!" Seeing her scream like that, and then noticing the pill that fell from her mouth, Nux quickly understood what happened. She tried to kill herself. For a slave, killing themselves without their master's permission is not different from betraying them. Since she tried to betray her master, the pain she felt increased by several folds. Nux did not know how terrible this pain was. He just walked toward her and muttered, "Stay loyal to me, and the pain will subside." The words, "pain will subside," echoed inside Thyra's mind. She quickly threw all the thoughts about killing herself or attacking Nux, and finally felt the pain subsiding. She then closed her eyes as her whole body trembled. "All of you, throw the pills you have in your mouth, and don't try to kill yourself, else you might be the next one suffering from this pain." Nux then glanced at the other assassins and ordered them. Seeing that one lying on that ground, completely defeated, the assassins felt weird. However, their body did as Nux ordered, and they all spat out the poison pill they had in their mouth. Good. Nux then glanced at the other two assassins who were screaming in pain and told them the same thing he did to Thyra. A while later, Thyra stood up, and she glanced at Nux with an expressionless and tired face. Nux glanced at her curiously as he questioned, "What happened?" "You are not with Marquise Lange. You did everything to trick us. Even Algar was with you in this act." "Why do you think so?" Nux questioned with a smile. "If Marquise Lange had the power to command someone like you, Algar wouldn't be alive till now." "You are sharp." "I still don't understand a few things." "What are they?" Nux questioned. "How did you manage to move your army so close to us without even letting us know?" "I do not have any army. Those were Algar's soldiers." Thyra and the assassin's eyes widened in surprise as they glanced at Algar, who was still standing there with his head bowed. Thyra then shook her head and questioned, "Why are you after us?" "Attacked Edda and fell." "Edda and fell?" "The head maid Edda and Vount Countess Felberta." Nux replied as he removed his mask. "You are Nux Leander, the one you sent 4, 5, 6, and 7 after." "You advanced to master stage." "I did." "Okay, next question. What have you done to us?" Algar's ears perked up when he heard that question. He also wished to know what happened to him. "I turned you all into my slaves. You can't deny any of my orders from now on. Also, if you even think about betraying me, That intense pain will assault you again. In simple words, your life is mine now. Thyra's body twitched when she thought about the pain she felt. "How did you do it?" she questioned. "I can't tell you that." Thyra stayed silent for a while before asking another question. "Last question. You should know about the kingdom that supports us. Are you sure you can go against it?" "Kingdom of Scotty. I know that. And as for going against it, I don't have those plans right now. But if we do clash in the future, I am sure that the kingdom won't come out of it scratch-less." Hearing his words, Thyra's icy blue eyes turned cold as she replied, "You won't be able to do anything to the kingdom. Although you might control my body, my mind will remain loyal to the kingdom. I will find a way to get back at you and then kill you." Again, Nooks was surprised. She did not feel any pain when she said those words. Aren't those words equal to betraying the master? Why isn't she feeling anything? "Tell me, why aren't you feeling any pain?" In the end, Nooks decided to ask her. "I don't know how the tortures activates, so I tried to remove the intent from my word, and it worked." Nooks stared at her blankly and ordered, "Tell me in simpler words. I don't understand what you just said." "I removed the intent from my word, which means though I said, 'I will kill you,' it is more like a statement. I'm not actually thinking about killing you." Although she did not want to answer him, Thyra's mouth moved on her own as she replied, "I cannot. Saying words without the intent might be possible, but doing something without intent is not possible. No matter how hard one tries, he can't hide the intent of what he is going to do." Thyra gritted her teeth after she answered, and seeing the smile that appeared on Nooks's face after her answer, she gritted her teeth even more. "Then how are you planning to kill me?" "Don't worry. In the future, I will find a way to deal with this pathetic magic of yours and will kill you for sure. It's not like a weak master stage cultivator like you can defeat me." "Wow! You are really good at this, aren't you?" "I am not good. It is you who is really bad." Thyra answered with an expressionless face. Nooks's face twitched at her response and he replied, "Your mouth is really loud, huh? Why don't I shut that up and put it to good use?" "Your mouth is really loud, huh? Why don't I shut that up and put it to good use? What do you mean?" Thyra tilted her head in confusion. Nox then smiled a little before he turned around and commanded, "Thyra, follow me." Thyra's body moved on its own, but this time she was surprised by another thing. "How do you know my name?" She was sure that not even other assassins and Alger knows her name. Then where did he learn it from? "I have my ways," Nox replied with a smile before he turned towards Alger and informed him, "I will be using your room today. Find another one for you." He did not wait for his response and continued walking. Thyra, who was still wondering how he learned her name, also followed behind him. Seeing their departing figure, Alger couldn't help but be jealous. He has always dreamed about doing what Nux was about to do to one. But not only will Nux be the one doing it, he would also even use his bed to do it. How shameful is that? His eyes then fell on other assassins, trying to see if anyone is willing to spend a night with him, but when he saw them looking at him with a threatening gaze, his body shuddered. "Why did you bring him here?" An assassin stepped out and questioned in anger. If he had not brought that man here, they would still be free and would be working for their kingdom. Now, not only will they betray their kingdom, they will even do it for a rando nobody who is not even Grand Master stage. It is only a matter of time before they all get caught, and then they will be dealt with. Yeah? Do you think you can defy his orders? Why don't you try it then? Alger then retorted. He was a Grandmaster Stage Cultivator. These Advance and Master Stage Cultivators do not have any right to talk to him like that. The assassin turned silent as well. He has seen one screaming in pain. That scream still sends shivers down his spine. He can't even imagine what sort of pain someone has to go through to scream like that. It easily surpassed all the torture he suffered. He then glanced at the two assassins who suffered from the same fate of being tortured and noticed that their faces were still a little pale and they were unusually silent. This made him shiver and shivered even more. Huh, Alger snorted before he left the room and walked toward his wife's. However, he was still inwardly jealous of Nux. He do not know how beautiful one is, but he was sure of one thing: her body was alluring. Plus that strict and rude attitude of her, he was sure that it would feel good to shut her mouth with his rod. Remove your mask. Inside Alger's room, Nux sat on the bed leisurely and ordered. Again, Thyra's body moved on its own and she removed her mask. Nux then laid his eyes on her face and admired. Wow, to have such a beautiful Grandmaster Stage Cultivator as my slave. And you're an assassin to boot. I struck it big, huh? That is true. To have me as your slave. This may have sucked all the good luck you will have in this and all the other lives you will live from now on. Heck, you might even be a lowly beggar in your next life. Nux's lips twitched at her response as he replied, Wow, you're trying really hard to annoy me, aren't you? All right, I believe it is time for me to show you your position. Then Nux's gaze turned cold and he ordered, Get on all fours. Again, Thyra's body moved on its own, and she quickly knelt before placing her hands on the floor as well. You see that? On the floor, on all fours, just like a bitch. That is where you belong. That is what you are now, a bitch, my bitch, who will listen to whatever I will say from now on. Humiliated, Thyra was extremely humiliated. She wanted to move her body and stand up, but her body did not listen to her command. After trying and failing several times, she threw that idea out of her mind and retorted, So what if you can command me? I will still not submit to you willingly. Then a disdainful smirk appeared on Nux's face, and he replied, Do you think I care about you submitting me willingly or not? I can command you to do anything. I can ask you to tell me everything. What else would I need? Thyra glared at Nux with hatred. She still wasn't willing to lose to him. What's that gaze? Oh, do you not believe what I said? How about I give you an example? So, let me ask you, will you ever bark like a bitch in front of your previous master? My master is a respectable and dignified person. I will never be ordered to do anything like that. Yeah, whatever. In the end, the answer is no, right? However, if I command you to bark like a bitch you will do it without question. Would you like to try? Thyra Cruz, bark like a bitch you are. Thyra Cruz, bark like a bitch you are. Roar! Thyra's body moved on its own again, and she barked. However, at this moment, her whole body was trembling in shame and humiliation, and Nux's next words did not help either. A cold, Grandmaster Stage assassin who is capable enough to kill expert stage cultivators is barking like a bitch in front of a mere Master Stage cultivator. See that? If I can make you do what you will never do in front of anyone, why do I need you to submit to me willingly? There is no merit in that. Thyra's eyes turned red in rage. However, just as she thought about attacking him, that intense pain assaulted her again, and she fell to the floor. I am loyal. I am loyal. I am loyal. I am loyal. Only after thinking about it continuously did the pain subside, and she sighed in relief. All right, this is enough. I don't have much time to waste. Come here, on all our fours, of course. Nux ordered as he patted his thighs. Thyra's body moved on its own again, and she crawled towards him, and only stopped when her face was close to his crotch. However, her eyes were still red in rage, and she had an extremely repulsed look on her face. Nux completely ignored her expression as he patted her head and caressed her face with a smile. Good, good. Now, lower my pant with your mouth. Thyra buried her face in his crotch as she grabbed her pant with her teeth and tried to remove them. All this while, Nux never stopped patting her head, and her repulsed expression never changed. She tried very hard to deny his command and control her body, but it was all meaningless. After a few more tries, Thyra finally managed to lower his pant, and a huge 8-inch monster popped out. Seeing a cold-blooded assassin on all her fours like a bitch, doing whatever he wanted, Nux's emotions were stimulated, and his little brother was already ready to go and explore a new cave. After a blowjob, of course. What a filthy thing! Thyra muttered in disgust. Nux's lips twitched, but he controlled his emotions and ordered, "Start licking this filthy thing, then." Nux slapped her cheek with his dick a few times before he rubbed it on her cheek. Her body trembled in disgust, but a small tongue moved out of her mouth. Then Nux stopped moving and waited for her to do what he ordered. With her eyes filled with hatred as she glared at Nux, she started licking his shaft. Yes, just like that, lick everything, from the head to the body, and then the balls as well. Lick it like it is the most delicious thing in this world. Again, Thyra's body started moving on its own, and she moved her tongue quickly and continued licking. The contrast between her licking his shaft greedily and the hatred in her eyes stimulated him even more. He doesn't know why, but this felt amazing. It was as if he was exploring something new. It was exciting and thrilling. You are good. I feel like you're a natural at this." Thyra's body trembled in anger. She wanted to cut his dick off, but knew that if she even thought about it, that agonizing pain would return and torture her. Her body then shuddered in fear as she continued licking obediently. She can deal with anything. Anything but that pain. This should be enough. Now gobble the whole thing and start sucking. Thyra's body moved, and she quickly gobbled up his shaft and started sucking. As I thought, you're a natural. With just some training, you will become a fine blowjobber. He praised as waves and waves of pleasure assaulted his body. Thyra, on the other hand, did not feel any good from his praises. Rather, she got even angrier. Also, why is he patting her like she's some sort of pet? She hates it. Don't just keep sucking, move your head up and down as well. Another order was heard, and her head started moving. Roll your tongue all around my dick. Keep sucking and keep moving your head. Her body did as she told, and a slurping sound echoed throughout the room. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Waves and waves of pleasure assaulted Nux as he grabbed her head with his hands and increased her speed. Slurp, slurp, slurp. The slurping sound increased. Tears welled within Thyra's eyes as she choked. I'm coming! Nux also reached his limit. He moved his dick out of her mouth and sprayed all his jizz on her face. Thyra felt even more disgusted by this and was quick to try and clean everything. However, do not clean it. Let my milk stay on your face for this whole night. This will help you remember where you belong, and you won't use that worthless mouth of yours to say some useless stuff. Her hand that was about to clean her face stopped moving and returned to the floor. Thyra glared at Nux with eyes full of hatred, but that look combined with his jizz on her face only worked to turn him on, and his rod stood up again. Glare all you want. I don't care. I'll show you where you belong, you bitch. Nux's smirk widened as he ordered, "Now turn around and show me your ass." Thyra's body trembled, but as always it did what he ordered, and turned around before lifting its butt. A single crystalline tear streamed down from her eyes. Her shoulders trembled as she blinked a few times to get rid of the tears welling in. She would not cry. Nux, however, couldn't care less about her struggle. He stood up, but just as he was about to slam his dick inside her pussy, he heard a voice. "What are you doing?" Nothing, he lied. "Are you sure?" Felberta questioned. "Yes." "Well, then it's okay. Although I will say, if you were doing something that you feel you should hide from me, that might not be the best thing to do." She could feel his emotions to some extent due to the harem seal, and she did not like what she felt. Although she isn't planning to control his life, she will still give her advice if she feels he's doing something wrong. Saying that, Felberta did not reply anymore. Nux also paused his movements and then noticed Thyra's shoulder trembling. He walked closer as he saw her face and couldn't help but be shocked. She was crying. Nux was then assaulted by different emotions. This was not the same as Edda. She wasn't enjoying it. He was raping her. He nearly became what he hated the most. Nux then closed his eyes and tried to calm his racing heart. "Sorry, I have gone too far." A deep sigh came out of his mouth as he apologized. Thyra turned back as she saw Nux standing with his eyes closed and couldn't help but frown. What happened to him? Then she saw him opening his eyes, and the previous glint that shined was nowhere to be seen. There was even a hint of sadness there. His excited dick had also calmed down. However, before Thyra could think more about it, Nux ordered, "Now turn around and show me your ass." Thyra's body trembled, but as always, it did what he ordered and turned around before lifting its butt. A single crystalline tear streamed down from her eyes, and her expression was the same cold expression he saw the first time he met her. Nux, however, couldn't care less about her struggle. He stood up, but just as he was about to slam his dick inside her pussy, he heard a voice. "What are you doing?" Nothing, he lied. "Are you sure?" Felberta questioned. Yes." "Well, then it's okay. Although I will say, if you were doing something that you feel you should hide from me, that might not be the best thing to do." She could feel his emotions to some extent due to the harem seal, and she did not like what she felt. Although she isn't planning to control his life, she will still give her advice if she feels he's doing something wrong. Saying that, Felberta did not reply anymore. Nux also paused his movements and then noticed Thyra's shoulder trembling. He walked closer as he saw her face and couldn't help but be shocked. She was crying. Nux was then assaulted by different emotions. This was not the same as Edda. She wasn't enjoying it. He was raping her. He nearly became what he hated the most. Nux then closed his eyes and tried to calm his racing heart. "Sorry, I have gone too far." A deep sigh came out of his mouth as he apologized. Thyra turned back as she saw Nux standing with his eyes closed and couldn't help but frown. What happened to him? Then she saw him opening his eyes, and the previous glint that shined was nowhere to be seen. There was even a hint of sadness there. His excited dick had also calmed down. However, before Thyra could think more about it, Nux ordered, "Go wash your face and clean up. You can take your time, but after you're done, return. I still have some things to ask. Don't worry, I won't force you to do this again." His voice sounded calm, but Thyra could notice something weird in it. However, since she was disgusted by the thing that was spread on her face, she did not think too much about it and rushed into the bathroom. Nux also sighed as he fell on the bed and muttered, "Thank you." "Don't worry, I will always be here for you." A small smile appeared on Felberta's face before she closed her eyes and entered her dreamland. Inside Alger's room, Nux also closed his eyes as he thought about the past events and the reason why he did that. My stay as the wilderness affected me more than I thought, combining with that rough plays with Edda. I have gone overboard. Nux then reflected on it a little more and realized that he was too hungry for power. Thyra was a Grand Master stage cultivator. If he could fuck her, his power will soar. However, instead of waiting and letting his craving touch work, he tried to outright her. Now that is just shameful. Nux then closed his eyes and tried to calm his racing heart. All right, let's get to the business. Are these all the assassins the kingdom sent here? Nux questioned. No, the kingdom sent a total of 55 assassins. 5 of them died, so there are 50 left. How strong are these assassins? Including me, there are 3 Grandmaster stage assassins. I am in the peak Grandmaster stage, the strongest among them. The other 2 are in the middle and early stages. We are named 1, 2, and 3. Then from 4 to 20, we have Master stage cultivators. The rest are at advanced stage. In other words, the lower the number, the stronger the assassin. Nux's eyes widened in surprise when he heard her. 50 assassins! 3 Grandmasters, 17 Masters, and 30 advanced stage cultivators. What kind of force is that? This is way storier than a normal marquis house. Only dukes and the royal family can take this force on. And that force will be under him after some time. Nux smiled in contentment when he thought about it. He had now gained some standing in this world. Although he is still in the shadows, he was now stronger and had more power than an average noble. Barons, viscounts, and earls? He could take any marquis house with ease, and that too without doing anything by himself. With eyes filled with anticipation and desire, he turned to Thyra and questioned, "Where are the rest of the assassins?" "They live in Hardwick Mansion." Although she knew what he was thinking and did not like it one bit, she knew her thoughts would not matter and she would have to answer and even help him with what he is about to do. Thyra sighed at her fate. She really wanted to kill Alger for targeting this monster's women. All right, we're heading to the Hardwick Mansion now. What? All right, we are heading to the Hardwick Mansion now. What? Did you not hear me? Take me to the Hardwick Mansion. But, although I can deal with the 2 and 3, that does not mean I can deal with every assassin alone. Are you thinking about taking all the assassins we have and go for an all-out attack? Do you think I am stupid? Why would I make my men fight each other and weaken themselves? I will just repeat what I did earlier. The only difference will be that with you here, the process will be a lot simpler. Nux shrugged before he stood up. What are you waiting for? Lead me. Actually, even Thyra was curious about how he managed to turn Alger into a slave. Now that she is about to witness it again, she couldn't deny that she was looking forward to it. As for her comrades, who are about to become this man's slaves, well, she couldn't do anything about it, no matter how much she thinks about it. As not to further torture herself, she decided that she will find some ways to get rid of him later. He is just a mere master stage cultivator after all. She then nodded, before she turned around and left the room. Nux followed her, and when the 2 of them left the Bannermain mansion, he activated his conceal with only Thyra being able to see him. Thyra did not notice what he did. However, she was surprised by how easily Nux was matching her speed. As an assassin, speed was her strong part. She felt annoyed that a mere master stage cultivator was keeping up with her, and he's a hateful one at that. She then used her skills and increased her speed to the maximum. However, she was horrified that although not completely, Nux still matched her speed to a great extent. She was a peak Grand Master. Even a new expert stage cultivator might not be her match in speed. How is a master stage cultivator matching up with her speed? What kind of freak was he? I feel like Steps of Gale is too slow for me now. After they appeared in front of Hardwick Mansion, Nux muttered to himself, and Thyra froze. Are you talking about the 1-star skill, the Steps of Gale? Yes. I got it from Fel, but I think it is too low-leveled for me now. Thyra stayed silent. However, inwardly, she was having an existential crisis. He is using a 1-star skill? How is he keeping up with me then? I am using a 4-star skill. How is he a master stage cultivator? Is he a hidden expert stage cultivator? A monster. A complete monster. All right, let's not waste more time and enter the mansion. Lead the way. Nux ordered, and Thyra started moving. Although she did not know how he will enter the mansion with her, she didn't care and just walked into the mansion. She had covered her face, but it was not the first time the guards have seen her, so they did not stop her. She wondered why the guards did not stop Nux, but then she concluded that they thought of him as her servant and let him go. Thyra shook her head as she walked into the mansion and then moved towards a dark hallway. She noticed that the maids and other guards didn't even look at Nux and couldn't help but smile a little. How does it feel to be treated like air by everyone, huh? The two of them then appeared in front of a wooden door that looked very similar to the one in the Bannermain mansion. Knock, knock, knock. It is me, one. The door was then opened, and the two of them entered. However, soon, Thyra realized something. Just like those maids and guards, the assassins were ignoring Nux as well, but she knows them well. They would never do that. They might let him enter here since he was with her, but they would still look at them vigilantly, or at least question her about him, or something like that. Anyways, they would never outright ignore his presence. Just as when he was thinking about what is happening, Nux answered, "They can't see me." "What?" Thyra muttered out loud. "What?" Tu questioned with a frown as he looked at Thyra. "Huh? What are you talking about?" He questioned again, feeling a little weird about her actions. "Nothing." This time, Thyra was sure. It is as Nux said, no one can see him. What kind of sorcery was this? He is standing right in front of everyone and no one can see him. Is he a ghost? Then why can she see him? All right, don't think too much about it. Gather them all. Thyra's mouth moved on her own as she ordered, "All right, everyone, gather up." Tu frowned when he noticed that she was acting strange, but since she was the strongest and the leader of this group, he nodded and stood straight. Other assassins were also gathered here, and more than 20 assassins assembled around him. Now question something they would answer with a yes. Thyra frowned due to the weird order, but since she couldn't do anything to go against it, she started thinking and she questioned after some time. "Have you guys eaten?" The assassins looked at her weirdly. Under their judgmental look, she felt strange. "Question in a stricter tone," Nux ordered. "I ask, have you guys eaten yet?" Thyra felt even weirder asking a question like that in a strict tone, but she felt even weirder when she heard Nux questioning something at the same time as her. "Are you guys willing to be my slaves?" I asked, "Have you guys eaten yet? Are you guys willing to be my slaves?" "Yes." As the assassins answered, a big smile appeared on Nux's face. Seeing that smile, Thyra also understood what happened. She remembered that they only answered with a yes before that weird energy entered their bodies, and that was when everything happened. I can't believe such an absurd ability exists. Thyra sighed inwardly. However, she then noticed that his smile had faded and was replaced with a frown. It did not work, Nux muttered inwardly as he realized that his plan did not work. This proves that he cannot cheat others with this. The target has to know what they are approving of. Just saying yes won't work. Nux took note of it and nodded inwardly. Of course, Nux only treated this as an experiment and knew that it might fail. Therefore, he had already prepared the countermeasures. Since Plan A failed, he started Plan B. Introduce them to me. Tell them that I am... Then he told everything to Thyra before he walked behind 3 and grabbed her behind and placed a dagger on her neck. Why did he not do this with 2? Well, who would like to touch a man if there is a woman next to him? Nux wouldn't. As he touched 3, his conceal wore off, and he appeared in front of everybody. 3 couldn't believe that someone had closed in on her, and her body stiffened. The other assassins were also surprised, but they quickly recovered and prepared to attack. "Stop!" However, before they could move, Thyra's voice sounded, and the assassins looked at her with a frown. "He won't harm her. If he wanted to harm us, he would have killed us all by now, and we wouldn't be able to do anything. Did you forget? None of you sensed his presence till now." Thinking about it a little more, 2 nodded and shuddered at the same time. Who was this man? Why was he unable to sense him? However, though surprised, his condition wasn't as bad as 3. She still couldn't believe that someone sneaked behind her and placed his dagger on her neck, and she was unable to do anything. If this man had wanted to kill her, she wouldn't have known how she died. How scary was that? Seeing that the assassins had calmed down, Nux released 3 from his grasp, before he walked in front of the group with his hands behind his back. "Let me introduce him to you. He is Levi Ackerman, a veteran assassin sent by the kingdom to train us. Also, don't look down on him just because he's a master stage cultivator. He's a lot stronger than that. If you don't believe me, you can challenge him. Although I will say it beforehand, Master Levi will only fight any one of you. He doesn't have much time and has important things to attend to, so choose wisely." "I will fight." 3 stepped up. She was very embarrassed when he appeared behind her and got her in such a helpless position. However, when she noticed he was just a master stage cultivator, her embarrassment turned to anger. Now that she has a chance to get back at him, she will do her very best to defeat him and wash her embarrassment. "All right." Thyra nodded before she glanced at Nux, who nodded back. Then a gold coin appeared in his hand as he glanced at 3. "I will toss this coin up. The moment it falls on the ground, our fight will start." 3 nodded as well, and Nux tossed the coin. 3 then glanced at the coin that was tossed in the air for a second. However, that little second cost her the whole match. Since her eyes were not on him, Nux quickly activated his conceal and then waited for the coin to fall on the ground. 3, on the other hand, panicked when she couldn't see Nux and started looking around vigilantly. King! The coin fell on the ground, and Nux started moving towards 3, who was still looking around. Then he appeared behind her and placed his dagger near her neck and grabbed her behind. "Well, I guess the fight's over." Nux muttered before he released 3 from his grasp. 3, on the other hand, was frozen stiff as she couldn't believe that she lost so quickly. However, 3 wasn't the only one surprised. The assassins who did not look at the coin were even more surprised than her. All they saw was 3 acting strangely, and when the coin fell, Nux leisurely walked toward 3 before grabbing her behind. All this while, 3 just looked around and did not move at all. "TT, 3, why didn't you fight him when he walked towards you?" "What are you talking about? How am I supposed to stop him when I can't even see him?" "But wasn't he just standing right in front of you?" "In front of me?" Now 3 was even more confused. What the hell was happening here? How could others see him when she could not? What kind of absurd ability is that? All right, stop talking. I don't have time to waste here. I was sent here by the kingdom since Master thought you would need more training. So you all will be under my control. Is that clear? Yes. Every assassin answered simultaneously. This time, no one doubted his strength, but they were still confused and wondered how he was doing all this. Good. Now, just for confirmation, let me ask you guys again. Are you all willing to be slaves? Are you all willing to be slaves? The assassins felt weird about the change in question, but when they glanced at Thyra, who just stood there without saying anything, they did not think too much about it and answered, yes. Strange energy then entered their bodies, and this time their names finally appeared on the slave column. This put a smile on Nux's face before he glanced at them and activated his Eye of Discerning. While the Nux was examining every assassin, the assassin felt awed and doubted the energy that entered their bodies. Did you feel that as well? 3 questioned 2. You did as well? I thought I was not feeling well today. What was that energy? No clue. Don't worry about it, it's normal, Thyra assured. The assassins then nodded, trusting Thyra. However, the one they were trusting, Thyra, felt bitter in her heart. She only assured them because she was ordered by Nux. That energy is not nothing. It is something that will change their life. However, she then calmed a little and frowned. Technically, these assassins should already be under him, so why is he avoiding talking about his power? Nux's reasoning was simple. He just did not want to waste time on this worthless talk since he found something much more interesting than this. He then glanced at Thyra and questioned, "Aren't you all spies sent by the kingdom of Scotty? Technically, we are assassins, but you can say it like that." Nux pointed his finger at a female assassin and questioned, "What about her? Is she any different than these assassins?" Her? No, she's 11. She's an assassin just like us, Thyra answered. A frown then appeared on Nux's face before he glanced at 11 and activated his Eye of Discerning again. Name, Maida Ayers. Age 54. Mana cultivation, Master. Body cultivation, Mortal. Race, Human. Occupation, Spy sent by the Kingdom of Scotty. Talent, Medium. LVL, 35. HP, 460 out of 460. MP, 600 out of 600. Strength, 43. Agile, 46. Vital, 46. STM, 38. INT, 60. DEF, 37. A spy. Why is her occupation different than these assassins? He then looked into 11's eye and questioned, "Are you different from these assassins in any way?" 11 frowned at this question. However, her mouth moved on its own and replied, "Yes, I am a spy." Soon 11's eyes widened in horror, but before she could think too much, Nux questioned again, "A spy? What kind of spy? Who do you spy on?" Even Thyra had a frown on her face. As a leader of these assassins, she knew everything about them. However, this was the first time she was hearing something like this. A spy sent by the kingdom to keep watch on one. I report every action one takes to the kingdom. Thyra's eyes widened with surprise. However, it wasn't over. Why do you keep eye on one? Isn't she working for the kingdom? She is, but the kingdom does not trust her. An orphan cannot be trusted with such matters. 11's eyes widened in terror. She wasn't going to say the last line. She just heard Levy's ordering in her head to say it, and her body moved on its own. What have you done to me?" Thyra's eyes widened with shock. The kingdom she was so loyal to does not trust her at all. An orphan cannot be trusted with such matters? Was she really just that? All the loyalty, devotion, and love she had shown for the kingdom just amounts to this much? They actually send a spy just to keep watch on her? She was in dismay. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. When he saw her reaction, a smile appeared on Nux's face before it disappeared in an instant. This woman was too loyal. Although he used a slave seal, he still wanted to win her over, so that she will give her all for his ambitions. Therefore, he came up with a plan when he learned that 11 is a spy. He did not have to do anything. He just needed to add some fire. He learned about Thyra being an orphan when he asked about her background, and then ordered 11 to say that line so that it will leave a strong impact on Thyra. With this, he will be able to gain Thyra's loyalty little by little. Actually, even other assassins, who were orphans as well, had different expressions on their faces, but Nux did not care about them. Maybe he cared a little about 2 and 3, but the rest of them were just slaves. Them having thoughts of betraying him doesn't matter. He only needs the important ones. He needs Thyra. So he planned for it. A perfect plan. What have you done to me? While Nux was thinking and admiring how perfect his plan was, 11 questioned in panic. Huh? What do you mean? My body moved on its own. Why else do you think I would tell you that I am a spy even if I was one? Why else? Well, let me show you. He pointed to another assassin and questioned, You, tell me everything about yourself. The assassin's mouth moved on its own and he started telling his backstory. My name is Avatone Stone. Yeah, that's enough. Before he could complete it, Nux waved his hand and he stopped. However, the assassin's eyes were wide open in shock and horror. See that? You guys agreed to become my slaves. From now on, you will do whatever I tell you. Got that? However, just as Nux replied, an assassin fell to the ground and started screaming. Ah! By now, Nux was already used to seeing this scene and did not feel anything. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. If you think about betraying me, you will suffer from an agonizing pain, so don't do it. Thyra's mouth twitched at the laid-back explanation. She then calmed her mind and walked towards the assassin who was shrieking in pain. Calm down. Think about being loyal to him. Keep muttering, I am loyal to him in your mind, and the pain will subside. A few seconds later, the assassin who was rolling all over the floor screaming in pain turned silent as he breathed heavily. Thyra then turned towards assassins and instructed, Do not take this lightly. Do not think about betraying him. This pain is no joke. Trust me. I say it from experience. Have you suffered from this pain? An assassin questioned. I did, and I do not want to go through it again. Silence. The assassins turned silent. If even one says that she does not want to go through that pain again, there is no way any of them would try something funny. Also, that assassin who is now lying on the ground breathing heavily with a pale face ensured their thoughts. Okay, I do not have much time for all this. Come on, let's go. 2 and 3, you follow me. As for the rest of you, carry on with whatever you were doing. You will get further orders from 2 and 3, Nux ordered as he turned around. However, he then stopped and glanced at 11. You two report what you normally do. Just say everything is fine. Don't make them suspicious, all right? She nodded in agreement, and Nux turned around. Where are we going? Thyra questioned. To deal with Marquis Hardwick, of course, Nux replied nonchalantly as he walked out. When he entered here, he had already sensed his presence, so he knew where he was. Thyra and the other 2 assassins shrugged as well and followed him. In their eyes, Marquis Hardwick was a weakling, an untrained brute without any techniques. They were sure that they could defeat him easily, even if they fight one-on-one, let alone 3 of them together. 4 of them then stepped out as they walked towards Marquis Hardwick's room. Soon, however, they stopped as they looked at the 2 guards standing in front of his room, and Nux questioned, Do you people know the guards? Well, we do, but I don't think they'll let us in without alerting him first. Two answered. Meh, too bothersome. Wait here, I will deal with them. Nux then casually walked towards the guards and appeared behind them. Bam! A chop on their necks and... done. The guards didn't even know how they lost consciousness. Did that how it looked like when he fought me? Three questioned as she watched the scene in front of her. She only saw him walking towards the guards. Somehow the guard failed to notice him, even though he was right in front of him, and he knocked them out. Yeah, Thyra answered, although she has seen this before. It was still as shocking as ever. It's ridiculous. He can kill anyone without any effort. He's a perfect assassin. Two muttered as he glanced at Nux in a daze. Nux then deactivated his conceal and kicked the door open before entering. Damn, I always wanted to do this, Nux thought inwardly, before he shook his head and smiled. Heath Hardwick, or Marquis Hardwick, who was sleeping calmly, was jolted awake and his eyes widened when he saw a man wearing black clothes with his face covered, standing right in front of him. An assassin. His heartbeat quickened when he realized that the man was an assassin. However, he calmed down a little when he noticed three more familiar assassins entering the room behind him. Heath Hardwick, are you willing to be my slave? Suddenly, the unfamiliar assassin questioned. What? Heath felt that he had heard him wrong and questioned. What, are you deaf or something? I will ask you again. Are you willing to be my slave? The man repeated. This time his tone was a lot stricter than before. However, instead of getting afraid, Heath's eyes turned cold as he roared, Who do you think you are? Then without any warning, he took out his 4-star sword and attacked. Three assassins rejoiced inwardly when they noticed that Nux hadn't ordered them to defend him. They were hoping that he would get killed by Heath so that they could be free. Nux, of course, did not know their thoughts. If he wanted, he could have directly activated his conceal and had dealt with Heath as he did with Alger, but he wanted to take this opportunity to show his strength to his new slaves. Clank! Just as Heath thought he would cut his head off, a green-black-colored dagger appeared in Nux's hand, and he blocked his attack. Meh, weak. He then forced his sword back before slashing Heath's arm, leaving a deep cut there. The dagger's paralysis effect triggered, and Heath's entire right hand turned numb within seconds. This dagger? Yes, that's your boyfriend's. Oh, right. He's also my slave, so you can enjoy his company after you become one as well. Bam! Smash! He then kicked Heath's chest and his body flew back before clashing with a wall. 1, 2, and 3 who were looking at this scene had their eyes wide open. What is happening? How is he defeating a Grand Master Stage Cultivator even though he is just a Master Stage Cultivator? And why does it feel so effortless? Heck, he hasn't even used the ability where he turns invisible. Marquis Heath could see him very well. That means he's still holding back. What kind of monster is he? All right, let's not waste more time. Heath Hardwick, are you willing to be my slave? Nux did not seem to care what these assassins were thinking. He casually walked towards Heath as he placed his foot on his head and questioned. He then raised his head as he glared at Nux and replied, In your dream... Before he could even complete it, Nux kicked his head as if it was a football. It feels like your willpower is stronger than Alger's. He submitted when he lost 3 fingers. I don't know if that was cowardly or smart, but let's see how many fingers I would have to cut off before you submit. This should be an interesting experiment. A small smile appeared on Nux's face. It feels like your willpower is stronger than Alger's. He submitted when he lost 3 fingers. I don't know if that was cowardly or smart. Let's see. How many fingers would I have to cut off before you submit? This should be an interesting experiment. Seeing the disdainful look in his eyes, Heath knew he wasn't kidding. The dagger's numbing effect has already started its effect, and he can't move his arm anymore. Even if he could, there was no way he would have won against this man. He had somehow gained a little confidence when he saw his cultivation was only at master stage. But this man is a monster. Even though he was just at master stage, the way he fought and overpowered him made it look like he was an expert stage cultivator. What a freak! However, as a marquis, how could Heath be willing to be someone's slave? His eyes then fell on the three assassins following this man, and his eyes brightened. "What are you three doing? Why aren't you saving me? Although he might be a little strong, I believe with the three of you working together, you can deal with him. One, you can even kill expert stage cultivators, right? Then why aren't you fighting him? Could it be that you were afraid of a master stage cultivator?" An unusual silence descended on the room after his words ended. Are you dumb?" Nux questioned with a confused look on his face. "Did he hit his head too hard?" "What? Can't you see they're following me? Look how they're standing. Does it look like they even intend to stop me? No, right? Of course not. Why would they stop me? They're my slaves as well." "Your slaves?" "Yes. 1, 2, 3, all 50 of them, Alger as well. All of them are my slaves. Only you are left. Do you understand it now? Don't think I won't kill you because I want you as my slave. If worse come to worst, you'll die while being tortured, and I'll find someone to replace you as the new head of this marquis's house. Your greatest trump card is already mine, so it doesn't matter if you give up or not. You'll just increase my work a little, that's it." Seeing that nonchalant attitude, Heath's will to resist him dimmed. It was true. His trump card, the assassins, were already under him, and he was pretty much worthless. His only worth was that he was needed as a face, the head of a marquis's house. My ass. That was only a title, and it's very easy to replace a face. "Are you from the kingdom?" Heath questioned. With the assassins on his side, he had already given up. He just wanted to confirm something. "Yes, the kingdom sent me since your progress wasn't on par with our expectation." Then, without wasting any time, Nux took out a normal dagger before placing it on his index finger. "Well, this will be the last time I will ask this without hurting you. Are you willing to be slave?" Heath's face twitched. "Without hurting you, my ass. I can't move my right hand, and my head is still hurting from that kick. How dare you say without hurting me?" However, he did not say that out loud and quickly gave up. "Yes, I am willing to be your slave." "Good." A smile appeared on Nux's face when he heard him. Then he finally removed his mask and took a deep breath. It's finally done. What a long night. "You!" However, just after he revealed his face, Heath was given another shock. He recognized that face. He was Nux Leander. "You sent your assassins after me and my Edda. You're not from the kingdom." Again, silence descended on the room after his words ended. "You really are dumb, huh?" Nux muttered, as he glanced at Heath with a blank look. He's not from the kingdom. He fooled you. Ag! Heath wanted to stand up and attack Nux, but then he was assaulted by the agonizing pain and fell to the floor. It's getting really repetitive. While Heath was rolling on the floor, screaming in pain, Nux muttered with a nonchalant look. Within just one night, he had already seen countless people screaming in pain like this. Actually, he was getting bored with this. It would be a lot better if he was with his Fell, Skyla, Lane, or Edda. Well, whatever. He was handsome and a responsible man. He needed to work hard to secure his future. this little sacrifice was needed. Not that he wasn't rewarded for his hard work. He now had control over 2 Marquis houses, plus the assassins, which are a lot stronger than these Marquis houses. However, that was not his real game. His real gain was Tyra. With a peak Grand Master Stage assassin as his slave, it won't be long before he becomes a Grand Master. With that, it would be easy for him to defeat an expert stage cultivator, and he might even be able to fight against a king stage cultivator. However, he will not S her. He won't repeat that mistake. He will use the approach he always had. Combining it with his craving touch, this will be easy peasy. While Nux was still thinking about all this, he felt someone patting his shoulder. He turned around and saw Tyra looking at him, as then she pointed at Heath, who was still rolling all over the floor, screaming in pain. "Oh, I forgot about him," Nux muttered, before he walked towards Heath. Tyra's mouth twitched, but deep inside her, she also liked seeing this piece of shit being tortured like this. He deserves it. After a while, Heath stopped rolling on the ground. He had learned how this worked and swore in his heart that he would never think about betraying his master. "All right, get some rest. You have 10 minutes. After that, take me to your army head and other important members of your army." After putting the slave seal on the head of Hardwick Army and some other higher-ups, Nux and Thyra left the Hardwick house while 2 and 3 stayed there. An orphan cannot be trusted with such matters. While they were walking towards the Bannermain house, Nux muttered what 11 said. Thyra's movements paused a little before she continued like she did not hear him. A smile appeared on Nux's face as he realized that it was working. "I can't believe she said that. Well, it's not really her fault either. It's the kingdom's." Thyra did not react. "I really pity you, Thyra Cruz." She couldn't take it anymore as she glanced at Nux and replied in a hoarse voice, "I do not need your pity." "Of course you do not. You're a strong woman. The kingdom you gave your all for does not trust you at all. If I had faced something like that, I would be broken by now." "Humph, that just means you are weak." She snorted. Nux's face twitched a little, but it quickly returned to normal as he shook his head. "No, I am not weak. It is you who is just too strong. With your talent, you can easily live a lavish life without any troubles, but you chose to live a dark life for your kingdom. However, even after such a big sacrifice, you did not even win their basic trust. I'm impressed that you can talk normally right now." The kingdom does not work on feelings. They have to make sure their plan does not fail. It is not wrong for them to have double security. Thyra replied in monotone. It felt like she was trying to convince herself rather than convincing Nux. "I do not need any double security. I trust whoever I trust with my whole heart. If they betray me, that will be my fault for trusting them." "Humph, don't act like you are any better. You literally control our bodies, and just the thought about betraying you tears apart our body with agonizing pain." "I don't know who I trust. Remember, you guys were my enemies, and you swore to get your revenge against me. I would be a fool to trust you. I am honest about it. At least I do not create a fake image of trusting my subordinate, only to send another subordinate just to keep an eye on the former one. I show what I am up front, and I believe that alone makes me better them." Nux replied before he increased his speed. Thyra, too, increased her speed as she followed him behind. However, she was lost in her thoughts as she pondered his words. He was right. They were enemies. She completely forgot about that. Then she remembered how guilty he looked after what he did to her. However, as soon as she thought about it, she shook her head in disgust. Humph, that was just an act. Images of her sucking his penis appeared in her mind, and she felt slight twitching in her crotch area. Feeling that twitch, Thyra's eyes widened in shock. She couldn't believe her body was acting like that. Her eyes turned cold as she glared at Nux with hatred. Of course, Nux did not know what was going on in her mind, nor did he care. He just needed to use the newly found hatred she has for the kingdom and make her completely loyal to him from there, step by step. And he has achieved what he wanted for today. All right, you can return to Bannermane House. We will meet at the meeting tomorrow. Saying that, Nux rushed towards Felberta's mansion before walking into her room and sleeping right beside her, while hugging her, of course. The next day, Nux and Felberta were sitting in the hall. However, this hall was a lot bigger than the one in Felberta's mansion. They were in the Bannermane House. Alger and Heath were standing in front of them, and they bowed their head. "Greetings, master." "To have two marquises bowing in front of you, how does it feel, master?" Felberta chuckled. "Meh, not that good." "You feel better." Nux looked at Felberta before glancing at her crotch with a meaningful smile. Understanding what he meant, Felberta blushed. However, since she was already used to his ways, her face quickly returned to normal as she laughed before her voice turned seductive and she questioned, "Then how about you feel me later?" "That's an amazing idea, as expected of my beautiful and intelligent Fel." Alger and Heath, who were still standing there with their heads bowed, felt their lips twitching. They were completely ignored. Let alone them, even Thyra, who was hiding behind the hall, looked weird when she saw Nux and Felberta acting all playful. She noticed the smile on Nux's face before she glanced at Felberta, and she couldn't help but be jealous. Then she hurriedly shook her head to get rid of these stupid thoughts. How could she be jealous of her? Instead, she should pity that woman who has chosen such an evil person as her lifelong partner. Felberta then glanced at the two nobles and continued, "Then what are we waiting for? Should we start what we came here for?" "Have you brought what I asked?" Nux glanced at the two as well and questioned. "Yes, master." They nodded at the same time before a few servants walked in carrying two huge tables in their hands. One table had around 8 books and many weapons on top of it, while the other table was filled with weapons. "These are all the skill books we have. However, we did not bring all the weapons here, since that would be too many. But we have brought all our best weapons. All of these weapons are above 3-star or above, with the best one at 5-star, Heath explained. Also, a peak 5-star dagger that is already in Master's hand, Alger added hurriedly. Nux ignored the weapons and quickly grabbed the 8 skill books. However, soon a frown appeared on his face. "Two Marquis House only have 8 skill books?" "Master, these are all 4-star skill books," Alger answered hurriedly. "I can see that, but shouldn't you guys have more? I'm not asking about 4-star skill books, but you guys should still have 3-star or lower level books, right?" "Master, since we already have 4-star books, we usually sell all the lower level books in exchange for something more useful." "Huh? Why would you do that? I know that you can't combine the skills to make a better one, but shouldn't you not at least keep more books? Lower level books are easier to comprehend. Some people might not have a high affinity. Isn't it better for them to use a low-level skill book?" "The star level of a skill book is absolute, Nox." This time Felberta was the one who answered. "Even if you comprehend a 3-star skill to a beginner stage, a novice stage 4-star ability is still stronger, so it's always better to learn high-leveled books," she continued. "Of course, there are people with low affinity who can barely learn 1-star skills. However, people like them aren't needed here, so we don't keep lower-level skills. Also, it's not like we can't get it. If for some reason we ever need it, we will just buy it," Heath muttered. "All right." Nux nodded deeply. He then glanced at the 8 books and read their titles with an excited look on his face. Fire Slash, Fire Arrows, Earth Shield, Rack Ray, Water Shelter, Water Shide, Wind Walk, and Wind Lance. They all seem good. Nux muttered inwardly, before storing everything into his inventory. Now to the weapons. I already have the dagger, now I want a sword. Nux muttered before he picked a 5-star black-colored with silver on the edges sword and stored it in his treasury. Then he stored all the other weapons in the treasury as well. Heath and Alger frowned as they looked at Nux with eyes filled with confusion. As you know, I will have a lot of subordinates from now on, so I will need to provide them with better weapons, right? Nux explained with a bright smile on his face. Ah ha 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 ha, of course, of course. Alger quickly nodded with a laugh. Heath, too, nodded with a big smile on his face. However, inwardly, both of them were crying blood as their tears. That was all of their skill books and weapons, their entire wealth. And he took everything without batting an eye. All right, you guys can leave now. I will be a little busy in a while. Nux waved his hand nonchalantly before he glanced at Felberta with a meaningful smile. Felberta smiled back as well, before she glanced at his crotch and licked her lips seductively. Oh, right, Alger, your room will be mine now, so find yourself another one. The same goes for Heath as well. The two nobles wanted to cry in frustration. This man isn't satisfied even after taking their weapons and skills. Now he even wants their room. What a greedy bastard. Yes, master. However, no matter how angry or frustrated they were, their life was in his hand and they would die if they do not do what he says. Therefore, they nodded like the good servants they were and left. What are you waiting for? You leave as well. Nux then turned towards Thyra and the other servants and ordered them to leave as well. When everybody left the hall, Nux turned towards Felberta. He then picked her up and placed her on his lap. Hee, this is much better, he laughed. Indeed, this is much more comfortable. Felberta laughed as well. She then shifted her attention to the tables in front of her and muttered, I can't believe we now have 2 marquee houses under us. You have to get used to it, my dear Fel. Soon we will have a whole kingdom under us. Nux tightened his grip around her waist and muttered. Felberta's face turned a little red and she nodded. But how can she remain in this passive position? She looked around and thought about something before she questioned, So, which skill are you going to learn? Is that even a question? Obviously, I will learn all of them. All of them? Of course, now that I'm a master-level cultivator, the skills I have now are too low-leveled for me. It's time for me to upgrade and learn them all. That is true. A master-level cultivator using 1-star skills is a waste of his talent. So, which one are you going to learn first? Felberta questioned, with a curious look on her face. A mischievous smile appeared on Nux's face as he answered, I'm too handsome. There might be some people who are jealous of my looks and go after me, so I need to be prepared. Running away is the best option, so I will learn the windwalk first. Felberta's face twitched in annoyance. Even after staying with him for so long, she still couldn't get used to his shamelessness. However, when she turned around and glanced at that nigh-perfect face, she felt that he was wrong. What am I thinking? Felberta shook her head repeatedly. Her face had already turned red. Oh, right. I will give all of these skills to you. Distribute them to Skyla, Lane, and Etta. Of course, you can learn whichever you want as well. A sad look appeared on Felberta's face as she muttered, I can't learn any of them. I'm one of the people with low talent that Heath mentioned earlier. My talent is too low. But these will be beneficial to others. Who said your talent is too low? You're a top class, Nux chuckled. Felberta frowned her brows. She turned around to ask what he meant by that, but however, she suddenly felt his hand entering inside her clothes and moving towards her special place. Her little sister twitched in response, and her juice started leaking. You are a top-class woman, Felberta, a top-class woman. You are a top-class woman, Felberta, a top-class beauty, Nux whispered into her ears as he circled his finger around her canals. Felberta's body shuddered in anticipation. Then a mischievous smile appeared on her face as she slapped his hand lightly. "What are you doing, huh?" "Huh, you act as if you don't know what I am doing or what I am about to do," Nux retorted. "I really don't know what you are going to do," Felberta replied with a slight smile on her face. A sly smile appeared on Nux's face as well. His other hand moved and grabbed her soft breast as he started kneading it. "You really don't know what I'm about to do?" "Why would I lie to you?" Felberta questioned back. "Oh, so tell me, are you enjoying what I am doing?" Nux quickly understood her play and started thinking of ways to end it well. "I feel Are you enjoying what I'm doing right now?" Before Felberta could answer, Nux slightly brushed her clitoris as he moved his mouth close to her ear and whispered, "Ah!" A slight moan leaked out of Felberta's mouth, and a jolt of pleasure passed through her spine. "My dear Fel, let me ask you one last time, are you enjoying what I am doing right now?" Nux's soft and seductive voice entered her ear, and another jolt of pleasure was released into her body. Combined with his caresses, Felberta had no way of going against him, and she lost again. It feels amazing." Nux's smile widened as he asked, "Then I should continue what I am doing, right?" Continue," Felberta replied with a soft blush on her face. She doesn't know why, but she could see that her resistance today was a lot more fragile than before. Nux has barely touched her little sister, and she had already lost. How is this possible? How is this happening? While Felberta was thinking about all this, suddenly Nux's movements paused. A frown appeared on her face. However, before she could think more about it, Nux picked her up like a princess and muttered, "I think we should continue all this in our new bedroom. What do you think?" Seeing that enchanting smile and how her pussy was crying for attention, Felberta had no option but to agree, and that's what she did. Seeing her small nod, Nux smiled even more before he kissed her forehead and started walking towards Alger, his bedroom. While walking towards the hallway, he walked past a few maids, and the more maids he passed, the redder Felberta's face got. She was embarrassed by how Nux was carrying her. However, she didn't want to walk on her own either, a conflicted feeling. However, one thing was for sure, she wanted to stay like this forever. She hoped that Nux would carry her like this every once in a while. She then tightened her grip around his neck and smiled. Nux smiled back, and her smile widened. However, as another maid passed by, Felberta realized something. "Nux, isn't our relationship a secret? Wouldn't these maids spread rumors about us? Not only that, won't us taking over Marquis's house be known to all if we walk around without conceal?" She questioned with a frown. The last thing she wants is their plans to be ruined because of a moment of pleasure. Seeing the worried look on her face, Nux smiled. "Ah, Fel, you are just too precious." He kissed her forehead again, then answered, "Don't worry, this is Alger's house. All the servants here are extremely loyal to him, and none of them is allowed to leave the mansion. This mansion is very secure. Alger's personal soldiers and even the assassins had made sure that there are no spies. Also, even if there are one or two spies, it doesn't really matter if our relationship or us taking over Alger's house is leaked. Things like these require solid proof. They can be suspicious of us, but as long as Alger doesn't say something himself, they won't be able to prove anything on their own." Isn't that weird? If a noble has taken over another noble's house, a slight suspicion is enough for people to start investigating and even prove it. Why is Alger's statement required in our case? Felberta questioned in confusion. If it was a duke who had taken over a marquis's house, a slight suspicion was enough to start the investigation, but how could a mere viscount take over a marquis's house? How is that possible? Nux replied with a sly smile on her face, and Felberta's eyes widened in realization. Indeed, according to records, she was a mere viscount, a little special one, but she was nowhere strong enough to take over a marquis's house. She can investigate her and her house a little more, but since she doesn't have people other than the ones she had already mentioned, she is still a weak viscount. She can't take over a marquis's house. She doesn't have the strength to do that. As for her relationship with Nux, well, most of the nobles will just hear and forget about it. This news was not spicy enough. She has bought Nux as her boy toy. News of her having a good time with him isn't tangy enough for the nobles to think or talk more about it. Of course, it was a different story if she was the princess or the royal concubine. Now that would have been newsworthy of the nobles' attention. We are too weak. Felberta smiled mischievously. Indeed, we don't even have our own private army. We are too weak. A similar smile appeared on Nux's face, and he continued walking. A few minutes later, the two of them entered a lavish room with a shiny wooden texture floor, peach-colored walls, a huge, comfortable-looking bed with a dark red color bedsheet in the center, 2 light lamps on either side of the bed, an exquisite mirror on the side, and finally an elegant chandelier on the top. The room was leagues above Felberta's own bedroom. "Beautiful," Felberta muttered. "Not as beautiful as you." How could he possibly leave the opportunity to say such a cliché line? That would be a sin. A slight smile appeared on Felberta's face, and she shook her head. "Cheeky," she muttered inwardly. Nux then entered the room with Felberta in his arms. Then, without much looking around, he directly walked towards the bed and gently placed Felberta on it. He then took a deep breath before a sweet lavender smell entered his nose and smiled. "We can continue what we were doing here. No one will disturb us." "Ha! Just get ready to moan like crazy. I will not go easy on you like I always do." Felberta smiled disdainfully. She had lost too easily before. That was not acceptable. The time it took them to walk into this room from the hall was enough for her to come back to her senses and gain back her footing. She is not going to lose that easily. She will be the one dominating this time. She was sure of it. "Ha! Where did that sweet Fel go? How come you replaced her again?" Seeing the glint in her eyes, Nux could easily determine what she was thinking and sighed dramatically. "Huh? What do you mean, that sweet Fel? Haven't I always been the sweetest? What are you doing, huh? No, I don't know what you're doing." Nux mimicked her words from before a little dramatically, before a bland look appeared on his face, and he continued. "Ha! From acting ignorant to now talking about making me moan like crazy. How can you shift so quickly, huh?" Her cheek flushed. However, she wouldn't repeat the same mistake she did last time. Since she couldn't answer, since she couldn't win with words, she is going to win with force and her charm. She grabbed Nux's hand and pulled him onto the bed, and without giving him any chance to react, she rolled over and appeared on top of him. She then lowered her head, her mouth moved close to his, and their lips met. However, Felberta didn't give him much time to enjoy. After a small peck, she raised her head and broke the kiss. She then lowered her head again and kissed before she raised her head back. She continued this for a little while. Before her hand moved towards Nux's crotch, she then caressed Nux's rod through his pants a little and smiled. "Ha! Look at this! Your little brother is soaring to go. And to think it happened with a few kisses. Tis tis." Felberta then licked her lips seductively and smiled. She had the momentum today. She can win. This was her moment. This was her chance. Well, I can't really blame you as well. It is natural to have such a reaction. After all, this time, I am not holding back like I used to. Well, I can't really blame you as well. It is natural to have such a reaction. After all, this time, I am not holding back like I used to. Indeed, in front of such a beautiful woman, I would consider myself gay if I didn't have this reaction. Nux, who quickly understood what was in her mind, replied. He would never give her the satisfaction she sought. It is extremely enjoyable to see Felberta work so hard to dominate him. However, it was even more enjoyable when she fails and starts moaning without considering anything. He didn't enjoy that feeling enough yet. "Yes, just stay where you are and let me do everything," Felberta muttered. Normally, she should be happy about the praise. However, she has been with Nux for enough time to know that the smile he had on his face was not a good one. Suddenly, she felt like her chance, her moment. They all faded, and this is going to end like it always does. However, just as that thought appeared in her mind, she shook her head repeatedly to get rid of it. A seductive smile appeared on her face, and she repeated, "Yes, just stay where you are and enjoy." She then swiftly removed his pant, and a half-erect rod popped up. Felberta grabbed the rod gently and started stroking it with a smile on her face. She then shifted her body forward as she kissed his waist, then his chest, his chin, and just as she was about to kiss his lips, she smiled and kissed his nose. She then continued her journey to his forehead, then she kissed his cheeks, the ears, before finally she kissed his chin again. Nux's body twitched in frustration, and this didn't go unseen by Felberta. However, she knew that she still had a long way to go. She noticed that under her care, his half-erect rod was now searing to go. She kissed his chest, her waist, and then trailed down to meet the fully erect rod. "Ha ha ha! Look how lively it is with just a few strokes!" Felberta laughed out loud. "Indeed, he has been waiting for this for a long time," Nux had to admit. Felberta was getting good at teasing him. Of course, it was far from enough. He won't lose that easily. "Then I shouldn't let him wait for long, should I?" Saying that, she lowered her gown and revealed her smooth white skin, along with the sexy black-colored bra. Gulp. No matter how many times he sees it, Nux would never get over how alluring her figure is. While Nux was momentarily lost in those black eyes, Felberta then lowered her head and kissed the head of his penis. All this while, she didn't break the eye contact between them. Nux was then jolted out of his reverie when a weird jolt of pleasure assaulted his body. He then glanced at Felberta, and seeing the smirk on her face, he knew he lost the first round. However, Felberta wasn't someone who would give away the lead she had this easily. She grabbed his dick with one hand, adjusted its position, and then, without removing her black bra, she directly engulfed the whole thing into her cleavage. When Nux already knew what was about to come, he couldn't control himself and groaned in pleasure. Felberta's smirk widened as she raised her giant breast before lowering them again. Nux moaned again and closed his eyes. Felberta still haven't broken the eye contact yet. However, combining it with her boob job, the pleasure Nux experienced was too much. Therefore, he closed his eyes and relished the pleasure. He was the first one to break the eye contact. Felberta won another round. This time, Felberta was overjoyed. She started gaining her lost confidence. 2 rounds in a row. That was amazing. But she shouldn't be too overconfident right now. She should not let go of this opportunity. She would end it once and for all. With this newly gained confidence, she raised her breast again before lowering it with more intensity. Her movement turned smoother, and she increased her pace. "I decide to stay up just to be sure that I don't forget that we are meeting tomorrow," Nux moaned out loud as he placed his elbow on his head and relished the pleasure. Felberton's soft breasts had surrounded his little brother, those mounds of softness. The feeling was otherworldly. Waves and waves of pleasure assaulted his body, and he could feel his mind turning numb. Not only that, Felberta, who was keeping a close eye on every change of his expression, kept increasing and decreasing her pace accordingly. Her style was similar to his. The more he moaned, the faster she would move, and the more he enjoyed. He was completely at her mercy. He had to moan if he wanted to enjoy more. Nux continued moaning. He had no thoughts of resisting. This was just too good. He had lost another round. However, he doesn't care about it at all. He's willing to lose more if it ensured that this pleasure would continue. Suddenly, a huge wave of pleasure assaulted his body, and Nux was jolted awake from his thoughts. He opened his eyes and saw Felberta was kissing his dick's head and was using her hand to rub her breasts against his dick even more. Every time she lowered her breast, his dick's head would pop out, and Felberta would give it a sweet kiss as if she was rewarding it for coming out. Seeing this scene, Nux was even more excited. He could feel his milk was building up, and with how Felberta was squeezing him dry, he was sure that he would burst out soon. Felberta continued her boob job and continued to force him to moan. Helpless, Nux could only do what she wanted and satisfied her ego. Several veins popped out on Nux's rod, and as if sensing something, Felberta increased her speed. I'm coming! Spurt. Nux also couldn't hold it in any more, and his milk burst out. Nux breathed heavily. He barely opened his eyes and saw Felberta's face and breasts covered with his jizz. A wave of satisfaction washed over his body, and his rod reacted again. Seeing this, a seductive smile appeared on Felberta's face. She used her hand to collect all the milk spread over her face and started licking and sucking her fingers hungrily. This scene stimulated Nux even more, and his rod hardened again. Oh, looks like he's ready and excited for the next stage, Felberta muttered as she stroked Nux's dick a few more times. She wasn't going to give him any chance to recover. She removed her gown completely, and without wasting any more time, she removed her black panty as well, revealing her lovely vagina. She then sat on top of Nux in a cowgirl position, placed his rod in front of her entrance, and engulfed his rod in one go. Nux moaned out loud. Felberta's insides were already blended into his shape, so when these squishy, soft, and wet insides surrounded his rod, trying to devour it, waves and waves of pleasure sent him into a cloud nine. Felberta didn't give him much time and started moving. Nux moaned again. Again, the same pattern. The more he moaned, the higher Felberta's speed was, and the more he enjoyed. He couldn't stop moaning. He was completely at her mercy. However, this time, the situation was not as bad as before. This time Felberta was affected as well, and Nux could tell that when he saw her trembling legs which she was trying to hide. Felberta was enjoying this as well. Not only that, he couldn't manipulate her speed with his moans. So everything was not hopeless. There was a chance. Felberta's body trembled when she noticed a small smile appearing on Nux's face. She felt something was wrong, however, since she was so close to winning, she stopped thinking about it and lowered her speed. Nux quickly understood what she wanted, and, Fel, my love, Felberta smiled as she increased her speed again. Jolts and jolts of pleasure continued to assault Nux's body, and since he was still sensitive, it didn't take long for his milk to build up again, and he also couldn't hold it in any more, and his milk burst out. And Felberta moaned in pleasure as well. However, she did not come. She used all her willpower not to come. She controlled herself. She finally won. Pack. But before she could enjoy her moment, Nux's rod that was inside her moved, and she moaned out loud. She lowered her gaze and glanced at Nux, who was smiling at her. I believe it should be my turn, right, my dear Fel? With a quick move, Nux rolled and appeared on top of Felberta. Even though he had just orgasmed, for some reason his rod was full of energy. Shall we start? Nux questioned with a smile on her face as he moved his hips. Felberta moaned out loud. With just one thrust, she knew this was over. She did not win at all. Fel, I am coming, Nux moaned as he unloaded his jizz for the 5th time. Fel moaned. Her walls tightened and her juices gushed out. Nux then released her legs that were on his shoulders and fell down right beside her. That was good, he muttered as he turned towards her. Indeed, Felberta replied in a very soft voice, and Nux noticed that in this short time she had already entered the dreamland. She was just too tired. A small, satisfied smile appeared on Nux's face. The transition of her trying to dominate and then laying down like that was incredible. As he thought, this feeling was the best. After laying down for a few minutes, he sat up, turned towards Felberta, and kissed her forehead lovingly. Sleep well, my love. As if she had heard his thoughts, a small smile appeared on Felberta's face. Nux's smile widened, he shook his head and kissed her forehead again. He then stood up, wore his clothes, walked out of the room, and entered the bathroom. On the other side, Skyla was peeking into the room from the slight slit on the door. Her face was red. "What are you doing?" Suddenly she heard a voice and her body twitched in panic. She quickly turned around and, when she saw who it was, she sighed of relief. "Sister Lane, I was just about to punish these two. They're not allowed to do this while they're at work, are they?" she muttered as she invited Lane to look as well. Curious, Lane walked towards the door, placed her head on top of Skyla, and watched. Oriel, it feels too good. Oriel, I feel good as well. Within a few seconds, Lane's face turned red as well, and she continued watching. As for punishing, both of them forgot about it. Edric, I think we should end this quickly. Someone will see us. So what? Lady Felberta isn't here today. Don't worry, you can slack off a little, Edric answered as he continued pounding. But her personal maids are still here. What if they see us? Oriel questioned. She didn't know how right she was. So what if they see us? Don't talk as if you haven't heard their moans during working hours. They do it as well, Edric muttered. Skyla and Lane's faces turned red. Not only that, Sister Lane is sometimes so loud that most of the servants know what's happening when she's having sex. Right now, Lane's face looked like a tomato. That was how red it was. They're Lady Felberta's personal maids. We can't be compared with them, Oriel nodded. All right, I will end this quickly. Edric thought about it a little and nodded. They're about to finish, Skyla muttered, her face showing a little disappointment, maybe. Lane didn't say anything. She was too embarrassed to say anything. How can these two people do something like this? Right, how shameless. Shameless indeed. Both of you kept nodding. How can my lovely girls peek at a couple having sex? I didn't expect them to be so shameless. Suddenly, Skyla and Lane stopped nodding and turned around with mechanical movements, as if they were broken robots. Nux? Muttered Skyla, her face even redder than before. My lovely Skyla and my serious Lane, what are you two doing? Nux questioned with a small smile on his face. Nothing. We were just about to punish these two for doing something like that while they're at work, muttered Skyla. Lane nodded at Skyla's words. Oh, so you were going to punish them? Nux questioned. They both nodded repeatedly. Then why haven't you done it already? Psst. The two of them started thinking of some excuses. Why are your faces red? Why are you acting like you've been caught while doing something wrong? Nux continued questioning. Under his series of questions, Skyla and Lane turned silent and Nux's smile widened. This scene was interesting indeed. He can tease them for hours. He had just arrived at the mansion and had just used his sense to find Skyla and Lane, but he did not expect to find both of them standing together, peeking at the couple having sex. He would be a fool to waste such a great opportunity. We were not going to punish them. We were observing and noticing the differences, suddenly Skyla muttered. Let alone Nux. Even Lane standing beside Skyla was surprised. We were observing what? When did that happen? Why didn't I know that? Also, what were we observing? Countless question marks appeared in her mind. Oh, then what did you observe? Yours is bigger. Lane turned her head toward Skyla in confusion. However, after thinking for a while, she nodded her head as well. His is indeed bigger. Nux didn't say anything. He just walked toward Skyla and hugged her. A keen observation indeed. I knew Skyla was the best, he thought inwardly as he continued patting her head. Skyla didn't understand why he was acting like this, but since she was enjoying it, she tightened her hug around him and didn't say anything. That's a very good observation, Skyla. You did a good job. Although she didn't know what good job he was talking about, Skyla nodded and snuggled her face into his chest. How about I give you a reward? Nux proposed. A reward? What reward? Skyla questioned in confusion. A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he grabbed her perky, but kneaded it gently. Hey, are you acting ignorant as well? Do you really not know what reward am I talking about? Nux questioned. Skyla moaned out loud. Although she didn't get it the last time, now she was sure what the reward was. Does she want it? Of course. Yet, Skyla's eyes brightened, and just as she was about to agree, Lane interjected. No! We have work to do. Nux frowned. He then walked towards Lane and raised her chin as he questioned. What work? We have to, what? A tinge of red appeared on Lane's face. However, she controlled herself and answered. Or, at least, she tried to, since Nux cut her off. You can always do it later, right? Lane knew perfectly where this was going. Her heartbeat quickened. However, she controlled herself and answered. Nux, our image is already ruined. The servants here can hear our moans. That's not good. Skyla's eyes widened in realization as well. She completely forgot what happened before due to Nux's hug. Yes, we can't do it, especially Sister Lane. She moans too loudly, she spoke out loud. Lane's face turned red in embarrassment. Ha ha ha, this is something to be embarrassed about, Lane replied. Ha ha ha, what's there to be embarrassed about? Shouldn't you just train more? Huh, what do you mean by that? Lane questioned. A wicked smile appeared on Nux's face as he picked her up and answered. Simple, you should train more to control your moans. Let me help you with this. Saying that, he walked towards his room with Lane in his arms. Lane, who was now being carried by Nux, was confused. She knew something was wrong with what he said, but why couldn't she see what was wrong? Why does it sound so logical? Skyla, what are you waiting for? Don't you want to help your sister as well? Nux then turned toward Skyla and questioned. Coming! Skyla's face brightened as she rushed towards Nux as well. A few minutes later, Nux, Lane, and Skyla were inside Nux's room, or to be precise, Nux's bed, naked. What a lovely scene, Nux muttered inwardly as he saw Skyla and Lane laying in front of him without wearing anything. All right, we will start slow and pick the pace later, okay? Nux muttered as he used his fingers to enter their canals. Lane and Skyla both had different sensitive points, and Nux knew all about it. Without wasting any time, his fingers directly attacked their sensitive points and, Skyla moaned out loud. Lane, however, controlled herself. This was her training. She wouldn't moan. Nux smiled as he presumed what she was thinking and shook his head. He then bent down and kissed Skyla's lips. Skylar responded well as her tongue entered Nux's mouth and started fighting with his tongue for dominance. She also used her hand to grab his head and pulled it even closer to him. However, she stood no chance of winning. Nux was practically cheating in this battle. His middle finger entered Skylar's canal as well, and his index finger, combined with his middle one, created chaos in her insides. Skylar's grip around Nux's head weakened. Nux used this opportunity and started sucking on her little tongue. Skylar couldn't take it anymore. Her canals tightened, and she came. Nux then finally released her tongue and ended the kiss. After parting, he pecked her lips again before he turned towards Lane and muttered, "Now try and control your moans." Lane's body shuddered when she saw that devilish smile on his face. However, Nux didn't give her any chance to think more about it, and gave her a light kiss. Then, he moved his head in front of her pink nipple and started licking it. Lane's walls tightened around his finger. Nux's smile widened as he plunged his middle finger inside as well. He then glanced at Lane, who was looking at him with a nervous and determined look on her face, and kissed her nipple. Then, without wasting much time, he put the whole thing in his mouth and started sucking it greedily. Lane quickly placed her hand on her mouth to stop herself from moaning. However, a muffled moan still leaked out. However, Nux wasn't satisfied with a mere muffled moan. His ring finger entered her canals as well, and Lane's eyes widened. His 3 fingers simultaneously touched all her weak spots, and waves of pleasure assaulted her body. Strength started leaving her body, and a slight moan was released. However, due to that moan, she returned to her senses and shook her head repeatedly. She then closed her mouth shut to stop all the moans. Suddenly, Nux stopped sucking her nipple and raised his eyes. "You controlled yourself. Good job," Nux praised. However, for some reason, Lane didn't feel good from that praise. Her instincts were screaming that something was wrong. Her instincts were correct, as a big smile appeared on Nux's face as he muttered, "Now let me level up the game." Saying that, he bit her nipple. And, she moaned. "Now let me level up the game." Saying that, he bit her nipple and, Lane's canal tightened. The stimulus of 3 fingers all caressing her sensitive spots along with Nux biting her nipple was too much for her to bear, and she came. With that, she lost control of her body and moaned out loud. Again. A smirk appeared on Nux's face as Lane took deep breaths. "Oh my, you moaned again, my lovely Lane." Lane didn't reply. She was too busy breathing. Nux then suddenly felt a hand kneading his rod. He lowered his gaze and then looked into Skylar's eyes, who was looking at him with a lustful look on her face. Seeing the lustful look on her innocent look, Nux got turned on. His warrior woke up and hardened himself for the next war. A satisfied smile appeared on Skylar's face when she saw his erect dick. She moved and placed it right in front of her wet entrance and muttered, "My turn." Nux's smirk widened. He couldn't turn down that request, not when she requested it in such a way. He slid his penis in front of her entrance to lubricate it a little, and when he felt that it was enough, he slammed it into her pussy in one go. Nux groaned in pleasure. Skylar's insides were as tight as always. Those squishy insides trying to engulf down his cock was felt heavenly. Nux enjoyed that feeling for a while, and once he felt it was enough, he moved back before ramming it inside again. Skylar's insides were very welcoming, so much so that they tightened every time Nux's warrior was about to leave. Suddenly, Skylar wrapped her legs around Nux's waist as she tried to push him towards her. Nux smirked at her cute attempt and slammed his cock into her again. Ah. After a few more thrusts, Nux's movement turned smoother and his speed increased. Droplets of sweat appeared all over his muscular body. Then he picked up Skyla's legs and placed them on his shoulders before he rammed his cock again. Ah. This time he went even deeper, and Skyla moaned even more loudly. Her moans satisfied his ego, and he increased his speed even more. Soon, Nux noticed that Skyla was moaning louder than usual. He felt something was wrong. However, he quickly realized why she was doing that and smiled inwardly. How considerate. She's such a sweet girl. Nux then grabbed her soft butt, and her walls tightened. Skyla, so good. He groaned in pleasure. Her walls clamped around his dick tightly, and Nux's back arched up. The sudden increase in pleasure made him stop his movement and close his eyes. Skyla moaned as well. Lane, who had now come back to her senses, blushed when she heard her moans. Then she turned towards Skyla and saw her being drilled while she moans in ecstasy without caring about anything. Oh, isn't she embarrassed? She wondered inwardly. But then her eyes fell on Nux, who was looking at Skyla with a smile on his face, and she started wondering, what's there to be embarrassed about? The more she thought about it, the more she wondered how stupid she was. I'm coming. While Lane was lost in her thoughts, Skyla moaned out loud. Her back arched up as she clenched the bed sheets with her hands. I'm coming as well. At the same time, Nux's voice was heard. Lane saw his body trembling before a sigh escaped his mouth. Skyla's and Nux's bodies turned weak, and Nux fell over Skyla with his eyes closed. Lane watched everything with great concentration and jealousy. Suddenly Nux opened his eyes, and his charming golden eyes met Lane's. A smirk then appeared on Nux's face as he stood up and crawled towards Lane. Are you ready for your training? Don't moan. Lane's heart skipped a beat. A small smile appeared on her face as well. She then straightened her back, opened her legs a little, and try and make me moan. A very unexpected line from someone like Lane. Nux's smirk widened, and he took the challenge. Don't regret it then, my dear Lane. He then placed his dick in front of her cave and penetrated her insides in one move. Lane moaned weirdly. Huh? What? You lost already? Nux teased. No, that was just too sudden, Lane exclaimed, embarrassed. Nux chuckled. He grabbed her left leg, placed it on his shoulder, and penetrated her insides again. This time, however, he went a lot deeper than before. You're not really doing well in this challenge, he teased again. Shut up. Nux chuckled. He bent down. The more Lane's legs stretched and the deeper he entered. Admit it, my beautiful Lane, you already lost. Nux whispered in her ears seductively before he rammed his cock into her again. Lane's body turned weak, and waves of pleasure assaulted her body. Nux's strong scent assaulted her nose, and a deep blush appeared on her face. Nux then started kissing her ears. His hand moved down and started kneading her large breast gently. Nux's movement quickened. He played with her breast roughly before he squeezed the soft mound tightly. A bolt of pleasure coursed through Lane's body, and she moaned again. However, Nux wasn't done yet. He increased his speed yet again, and at the same time he pinched her nipple. Lane's body trembled in delight, and a foolish smile appeared on her face. Her canals tightened to an extreme degree. Nux couldn't control himself anymore and released his semen inside. At the same time, Lane's walls tightened even more, and as if a switch was flipped, a large amount of vaginal juice gushed out. After another great orgasm, Nux's body turned weak and he lay beside Lane. Lane, whose leg was now released, rolled over and closed her eyes. Both of them started breathing heavily. However, "This isn't the last round, is it?" Nux heard Skyla's cute and at the same time demonic voice. However, unlike before, when he would feel a shiver coursing through his body, a wicked smile appeared on his face as he replied, "Oh, of course not, my love." He was not tired at all. 3 hours later, Nux stood up and stretched his body. He glanced at his bed and saw 2 beautiful women lying there with tired looks on their faces. A wicked smile appeared on Nux's face, and he walked towards Skyla, moved his mouth near to her ear, and whispered, "You aren't tired yet, are you? Shall we go for another round?" Instead of answering, Skyla just rolled away and pouted. "Ha ha!" Nux chuckled out loud before he kissed her forehead. "Ooh, why aren't you tired yet?" Suddenly Nux heard Skyla's voice in her head. She was too tired to say anything, therefore she was using Harem Seal's connection to talk to him. "Secret," Nux replied, in the same way. Skyla then opened her eyes a little, and when she saw that little smile on his face, she closed her eyes. "I won't tease you any more," she muttered. "Oh, you can tease me any time, my love. Just be ready for the consequences," Nux answered back and chuckled. He then noticed a small smile appearing on Skyla's cute face, and she nodded. "Then I will tease you more." Nux smiled and then walked away. Lane had already fallen asleep. That girl moaned louder than usual today. It was as if she didn't have any restrictions at all. Of course, the more she moaned, the more satisfied Nux felt, and the faster he moved. Because of this, Lane was more tired than usual and entered her dreamland right after coming for the 6th time. Nux then finally left the room and walked towards the bathroom. He was really pleased today. First, Filberta, then Skyla, and Lane. He had orgasmed many times today. However, he was still not tired. Name: Nux Leander. Age: 18. Mana cultivation: Master. Body cultivation: Master. Talent: Medium. LVL: 31. HP: 810 by 810. MP: 580 by 580. STR: 83. AGL: 93. VIT: 81. STM: 86 to 120. INT: 58 to 80. DEF: 80. Blank points: 159 to 103. Yes, has finally decided not to be a cheapskate and use some of his blank points. At first, he only wanted to satisfy his women, so he increased his stamina. However, he then noticed how ridiculously low his intelligence was and increased it as well. Now he was very sure that a king-level expert won't see him if he activates his conceal. Although he was not sure if he could assassinate a king-level expert, he could at the very least run away. He also wanted to use 10 blank points to learn about the past Nux, but then he shifted it ahead. He had some important things to do right now, some very important things. Thinking about that, Nux smiled before he entered the bathroom and took a long, relaxing bath. 30 minutes later, Nux walked out of the bathroom, wore his clothes, and started walking around the mansion, when suddenly his eyes fell on a familiar man. He quickened his speed and called out, "Yo, Joyab, how's it going, dude?" Joyab, who was minding his own business and was walking around aimlessly, turned around to see who called him in such a disrespectful way. However, as soon as his eyes fell on Nux, his face twitched. "What is it, Nux?" he questioned with a straight face. Nothing. I was just curious. I usually don't see you wandering around very often. Lady Felberta didn't come to the office today for some reason, so I had some free time. Oh, she didn't tell you? Ah, she must have forgotten. She's with me, and she's busy right now. You can treat it as your holiday. Can I know what she's doing right now? A small smile appeared on Nux's charming face, and he muttered. Fel is resting. She was tired after working hard. Joab's lips twitched. He wasn't a fool. He knew what hard work she was doing. As for Nux calling her Fel, he was already used to it by now. However, he still couldn't believe the transition he saw with his own eyes. From L. Lady F. Felberta to Lady Fel to Fel. This boy really did, in 2 months. Joab let out a tired sigh. He couldn't do anything about it. You really changed, Lady Felberta. She used to be so diligent before. Oh, she's very diligent, all right, Nux muttered. However, only he knew the underlying meaning of his words. Ah, by the way, I heard a few assassins attacked yesterday. Suddenly, Joab's face turned serious, and he bowed his head. Nux Leander, I am very grateful to you for saving Lady Felberta and dealing with those assassins. I will remember this favor in my heart. Nux was surprised by his sudden action. His and Butler Joab's relationship wasn't very harmonious from the start. However, seeing him setting aside his ego and bowing in front of him, Nux realized how loyal this man is. A small smile appeared on his face, and he muttered, Butler Joab, you don't have to worry about it. One would have to pass through my dead body if he wants to harm my Fel. Please raise your head. Joab then raised his head, and a small smile appeared on his face. Also, Felberta is not as weak as you think she is. Joab's smile widened, and he nodded. Indeed, she is now an advanced-level cultivator. She's not weak at all, muttered Joab with a small smile on his face. His eyes were a little moist. Ah, Nux, I suddenly remembered something. I will take my leave. Saying that, Joab walked away. Viscount Alvi, your daughter found herself a man worthy of her. You can be rest assured now. Tears streamed out of Joab's eyes as he recalled Felberta's father, Viscount Alvi. Joab was truly happy today. Nux didn't know what was going on inside Joab's head. However, his respect for Joab had increased a lot after this incident. He then took out the skill book, Windwalk, entered the garden, and started practicing his newly gained skills. In the royal palace of the Skyfall Kingdom. Miss Etta, where do I put these clothes? A girl who should be no older than 12 questioned as she carried a big load of clothes in her hands. Ah yes, you can put them in chamber number 6. Make sure to separate white and other colors. Etta replied with a slight smile on her face. She is usually very strict, but she had a soft spot for this cute little girl. No, there was no history behind them or anything. She just liked the girl a bit. Yes, Miss Etta. The little girl nodded and walked away. It is almost the time now. Etta glanced around to see if anyone else needed any help, but everything seemed fine. Ding! Dong! A few minutes later, a bell's chime sounded, and a big smile appeared on Etta's face. It was finally 9 p.m. Just as she was about to walk away, she was stopped by someone. Etta, I see you're very busy these days, huh? You always leave as soon as the bell rings. A man laughed out loud. He was Madison Headley. He worked in the palace as a servant. As someone who has been here for his whole life, just like Etta, he was a little close to her compared to others. Yes? Ha, Madison, you don't know? Etta has been busy with someone else nowadays. What was his name again? Ah yes, it's Dio Brando. I heard he is a head of a merchant company. Quite a good target if I do say so myself. Before Etta could answer, a high-pitched voice was heard. Etta turned around, and when she saw who the woman was, she sighed. Adrea Fox. She is someone whose eyes on her position so badly that she even colluded with Bannerman and Hardwick House. She is an extremely covetous type of woman who easily gets jealous of others. Yes, Adrea, I am meeting a man called Dio Brando, and honestly I don't think Wyatt has to do anything with you. Have I ever interfered with you using your loose hole to please Wyatt and Ainsley? Shum. Etta's face turned red in rage, but she wasn't done yet. Oh right, I also heard that Erdwulf broke up with you. He did not break up with me, Adrea retorted in anger. Yes, that was my fault. How can he break up with you when there was nothing like that between you two to begin with? Didn't you become his meat hole just so you could make you sub-head maid? He just got bored of using your already used hole and threw you away, right? Etta's every word stung Adrea's heart, and her face reddened in anger and shame. Seeing her reaction, a small smile appeared on Etta's face. Although she didn't show it or abused her position a lot, she was still the headmaid of the royal palace. Her information network was strong. She knew everything about most of the servants, especially someone like Adrea, who was coveting her position. All right, if you would excuse me, I have to meet someone special. Saying that, she straightened her back and walked away elegantly. Adrea looked around, and when she noticed other servants' gloating expressions, her face distorted in shame. Ade, you went too far this time, she muttered inwardly. However, soon a cold smile appeared on her face. Enjoy all you want, you bitch. Once Bannerman and Hardwick House gets their hands on you, I will request them to give you to me. Then you will be at my mercy. But don't believe for a second that you will have a good end. I'll make you beg for mercy. Adrea thought inwardly. No one knew how she would react when she learns that Hardwick and Bannerman House are already under Etta's control. Etta didn't know what was going on inside Adrea's head, and she didn't really care about it either. She just activated Conceal and rushed towards the Bannerman mansion. 30 minutes later, she arrived at Bannerman House and entered the dining room where Nux, Felberta, Skyla, and Lane were having dinner. As for Alger and his wives, well, they were now eating somewhere else. They weren't allowed to disturb Nux's meals. Ha! She's late, Felberta complained. Oh, come on, she's a busy woman. It's normal for her to be a little late, Nux answered. Ha! Are you saying that I'm free? Felberta questioned as she raised her eyebrows. Aren't you free for me? For the love of your life? Nux questioned with a charming smile on his face. A small smile appeared on Felberta's face as she grabbed his hand gently. Indeed, I am always free for you. Me too. I'm free for you as well, Skyla chimed in, and although Lane didn't say anything, she nodded. Hey, still acting all silent and shy. Who is the one moaning so loudly this afternoon? Nux teased as he glanced at Lane. Lane's face turned red and Nux and the others started laughing. Seeing this scene, a small smile appeared on Etta's face. She didn't know when, but she had already assimilated in this little family. Everyone was good to her here without any alternative thoughts in their mind, and she was happy about it. She deactivated her Conceal as she walked towards Nux and hugged him from behind. I am free for you as well. Oh, my perverted maid is here, Nux muttered as he grabbed her hands and turned to her. At his face turned red. She sat on the seat Nux pointed at, and a servant served the food. Etta, I suggest you eat well. Nux is more energetic than usual. Suddenly, Felberta muttered as she glanced at Etta with a meaningful smile. Yes, he is very energetic today. Sister Etta, you have to be careful, Skyla chimed in. Lane nodded silently like usual, while Nux had a prideful smile on his face. Etta smiled and answered, Thank you for worrying about me. However, I am ready for it. A Bannermain's housemaid was walking in a dark hallway. The further she walked, the darker it got. After walking for a few minutes, a wooden door appeared in front of her. She gulped, calmed her emotions, and knocked. Knock, knock, knock. Marquise Alger has called for Miss 1. He is in his new room, she muttered and walked away. Her speed was visibly faster than normal. Even though she has come to this place a lot of times, she still wasn't used to it yet. Since her job was now, she rushed out of this creepy place. As for the new room she talked about, well, it was Alger's new room after he gave his previous room to Nux. Many servants found it weird. Most of them had sensed that something had happened, however, nobody dared to point it out. Marquise Alger was powerful and cruel. If they were wrong, they would die. And even if they were right and something was wrong, someone capable of making things go wrong for Marquise Alger would be able to kill them. Therefore, they didn't say anything and acted ignorantly. It's not like their life was affected in any way. They just have a few more people to serve. The new guests that have arrived in their mansion, the servants decided to serve them like they serve Marquise Alger and his family. A smart decision. The maid sighed when she walked out of that creepy place. She then walked into the kitchen and started doing her job. Alger was now sitting in his new room, waiting for someone. Actually, he was inwardly jealous of Heath. He didn't know why, but Nux was staying at his place. It was suffocating for him since he took every step in with utmost caution. He didn't dare to offend Nux. Due to this, he gets tired very quickly. However, he couldn't do anything about it. He can't just tell his master to go away. He was helpless. He could only cry and curse Heath for his good luck. Bam! While he was thinking about this, his door was slammed open and a woman who had covered her face walked in. "What did you call me for?" Thyra questioned. "You could have knocked," Alger muttered. "Shut the hell up. Tell me what you called for, and note, it better be something important, else prepare to lose your life. I'm in a bad mood." Thyra didn't care what he was thinking. She was very irritated for some reason. Alger noticed that and quickly got to the main topic. "I didn't want to call you here either. It's Master Nux who wants you to do something." "What does he want?" Hearing that name, her mood got even worse. "He wants you to use all the assassins you have and search if there are any spies in the mansion." "Haven't we done that already?" "He says he wants you to do it again," Alger shrugged. "Fucking bastard," Thyra cursed. Alger didn't say anything. To be honest, he would love to have the ability like Thyra's, an ability to curse Nux whenever she wanted. He tried it before, but was assaulted by that pain. Since then, he gave up. "Is there anything else?" Thyra questioned. "No," Alger shook his head. "All right, I will take my leave now," Thyra muttered, and walked out of the room and slammed the door closed. "She's really angry, huh?" Alger muttered to himself. This was the first time he had seen her showing so many emotions. Generally, she's always cold and calm. She doesn't resemble an assassin at all, Alger chuckled inwardly. Thyra didn't know what he was thinking, and neither did she care. She just wanted to return to her room. She has been feeling very weird lately, but she doesn't know what's happening. Your mouth is really loud, huh? How about you put that loud thing to good use?" While Thyra was walking away, she heard something. She narrowed her eyes and turned towards the source of direction. It was coming from Alger's previous room, which now belongs to Nux. Hearing the familiar words, Thyra narrowed her eyes even more and walked toward the room. She then opened the door a little, peeked through that little gap, and her eyes widened in surprise. She saw a maid standing in front of Nux who had a disdainful smile on his face. "Get on your fours," Nux ordered. The maid's body moved, and she fell on all her fours. "You see that? On the floor, on all fours, just like a bitch. That is where you belong. That is what you are now, a bitch, my bitch, who will listen to whatever I will say from now on." This scene was extremely familiar to her. Her whole body shuddered in disgust and craving. Wait, craving? Thyra frowned. She noticed that her certain area was a little too excited for some reason. She moved her hand close to that area, her finger moved, and started rubbing her little sister. "Oh," she moaned out loud. She couldn't believe how good it felt. However, she quickly realized where she was and stopped. Or so she tried to. As if they had a will of their own, her fingers continued to move and rubbed her opening. "Ugh," she moaned again. She couldn't believe how good it felt. Elegant and proud head maid of the royal palace, on her fours, in front of a nobody. Fate is really cruel. Suddenly Nux laughed out loud. Thyra's eyes widened when she heard his words. Edda Osborne? Isn't Edda his woman? Then why is he ordering her like this? Wait, does that mean she isn't his woman, but was just a poor victim to his weird magic? Are all his women like that? Thyra began to think. Edda Osborne, start licking my dick as if it is the most delicious thing you ever had. Thyra's eyes refused to miss what was happening in front of her, and she continued pleasuring herself unconsciously. Edda Osborne, start licking my dick as if it is the most delicious thing you ever had, Nux ordered. Thyra saw Edda's body moving. She crawled towards Nux, placed her head close to his crotch area, and used her mouth to lower his pants. When she did, the 8-inch monster popped out and placed itself on the top of Edda's face. Edda moved her head a little. Then she kissed the head lightly. Her tongue popped out, and she started licking Nux's shaft. After a few licks, Nux's whole rod was drenched in her saliva. Edda then moved forwards and started sucking his balls. Ugh! Nux groaned in pleasure. Edda continued moving. After she was done with her sucking, she kissed the balls and then started licking his shaft, all the way up to the head. Her pink-purple eyes then glanced at Nux's. A small smile appeared on her face before she gobbled up the whole thing in one move. Ah, so good. You are the best, Edda. I'm glad I took you as my pleasure toy. Nux groaned in pleasure as he closed his eyes and held Edda's head. What a bastard! She's not his woman. He's forcing her with that weird magic of his. Outside, Thyra cursed inwardly as she watched the whole scene. I knew he was no good, that bastard. She continued cursing in hatred and disgust. If only she could see herself in the mirror right now. Thyra, who was cursing Nux continuously, had a red face. She was sitting on her knees, her hand were under her panty, and her fingers continued to create chaos in her insides, while a few drops of something was on the floor right under where she was sitting. No one would believe that this girl was a cold-hearted assassin if they saw her like that. Right now, she looked like a pervert who was peeking at a couple having sex. Ugh, Edda, you are amazing, Nux moaned again. He was lying earlier. When it came to a blowjob, Edda was indeed the best. Not only would she gobble up his whole thing, but she would also continue moving her tongue inside and would not stop sucking. Her cheeks would always sink inwardly, and her perfect blowjob face would never fail to turn him on. Edda continued moving her head up and down. Waves and waves of pleasure assaulted Nux's body. It was getting harder and harder for him to remain standing. It was just that good. His legs were weakening from all the pleasure. He could feel his semen building up. Suddenly, he grabbed Edda's head and started thrusting his hips roughly. "Ugh, Edda, drink it all!" Saying that, he released a massive load inside her mouth. Edda choked due to the massive amount. Gulp, gulp, gulp. However, she quickly gulped down everything, and once Nux pulled his dick out of her mouth, she opened her mouth to show him that she gobbled everything up. Nux smiled and patted her head. "Good job." A bright smile appeared on Edda's face. "Hey, how about I reward you now?" Nux muttered with a small smile on his face. "Stand up," he ordered, and Edda did as she was told and stood up. "Remove your clothes." Edda started removing all her clothes, revealing her gorgeous tanned and untanned skin. Nux didn't stay idle as well, as he removed his clothes as well. A big perverted smile appeared on Edda's face when she saw that dreamy, perfect body with perfect muscles. Even Thyra, who was watching everything, was taken aback a little. "All right, go near that wall," Nux ordered, and Thyra's heartbeat quickened. The wall he was pointing at was very close to the door. She wanted to run away. However, her body refused to obey her, and her hand continued creating chaos in her insides, while a few drops of something was on the floor, right under where she was sitting. No one would believe that this girl was a cold-hearted assassin if they saw her like that. Right now, she looked like a pervert who was peeking at a couple having sex. "Ugh, Edda, you are amazing," Nux moaned again. He was lying earlier. When it came to a blowjob, Edda was indeed the best. Not only would she gobble up his whole thing, but she would also continue moving her tongue inside, and would not stop sucking. Her cheeks would always sink inwardly, and her perfect blowjob face would never fail to turn him on. Edda continued moving her head up and down. Waves and waves of pleasure assaulted Nux's body. It was getting harder and harder for him to remain standing. It was just that good. His legs were weakening from all the pleasure. He could feel his semen building up. Suddenly, he grabbed at his head and started thrusting his hips roughly. "Ugh, Edda, drink it all!" Saying that, he released a massive load inside her mouth. Edda choked due to the massive amount. Gulp, gulp, gulp. However, she quickly gulped down everything, and once Nux pulled his dick out of her mouth, she opened her mouth to show him that she gobbled everything up. Nux smiled and patted her head. "Good job." A bright smile appeared on Edda's face. "Heh, how about I reward you now?" Nux muttered with a small smile on his face. "Stand up," he ordered, and Edda did as she was told and stood up. "Remove your clothes." Edda started removing all her clothes, revealing her gorgeous tanned and untanned skin. Nux didn't stay idle as well, as he removed his clothes as well. A big perverted smile appeared on Edda's face when she saw that dreamy, perfect body with perfect muscles. Even Thyra, who was watching everything, was taken aback a little. "All right, go near that wall," Nux ordered, and Thyra's heartbeat quickened. The wall he was pointing at was very close to the door. She wanted to run away. However, her body refused to obey her, and her hand continued creating chaos in her insides. Edda then turned around, and again Thyra was taken aback. This was the first time she had seen Edda's face, and rather than looking like someone who was being forced, she looked like she was enjoying every moment of it. Heck, the big wide grin on her red face even looked a little creepy. "All right, bend down and put your hands on the wall." Thyra's heartbeat quickened even more. Edda and Nux were just 2 meters from her. She could see everything clearly. "All right, good," Nux praised. He then walked close to Edda and started sliding his rod over her little sister. Don't tease me, master," she requested. Nux's grin widened, and, he penetrated her insides in one thrust, making her moan loudly. Edda's body shuddered in pleasure. Her red face turned even redder, and her smile widened. She looked like she had gone crazy. "All right, let's start, shall we?" Saying that, he pulled out his rod and rammed it inside again. "Ugh, ugh, ugh," Etta continued moaning. Her mind turned blank from pleasure, and a few more thrusts later, her caves tightened to a ridiculous degree. "Ah, ah, ah, I'm coming," she moaned out loud. "Ah, ah, ah, I'm coming as well," Nux moaned as well. The sudden tightness forced his already sensitive penis to release his semen. Etta's love juice gushed out, and at the same time, Nux released his milk inside her body. However, they weren't the only two who orgasmed. There was another person who came right after them. The next day, Etta woke up, and her eyes fell on Nux, who was looking at her with a small smile on his face. "Good morning, my perverted maid," Nux greeted. A smile appeared on Etta's face as well. It was indeed the best way to start the day. She nodded inwardly. Soon memories of last night entered her mind, and her smile widened. "You were amazing last night, master." "You were amazing as well," Nux muttered. "What about that assassin? Did she leave?" Etta questioned. "Of course she left." "You scared her so badly." Nux couldn't control himself and laughed out loud. "Humph, I didn't do anything. I was just doing what you told me to," Etta retorted. However, even though she tried to sound angry, the smile on her face betrayed her. "Last night, someone was peeking at them while they were having sex." No, that's not right. It is better to say that she was manipulated into peeking at them. If Nux didn't order Algar to call Thyra, nothing would have happened. Of course, nobody needed to know that. So, shh. Ahem ahem. Of course, since Nux was the one who arranged everything, he naturally knew Thyra was peeking at them, and he told Etta to act accordingly. First, he recreated some scenes that Thyra should be familiar with. Then he noted her reactions, and once he confirmed that she was excited, he gave her a first-row ticket to the show. Thyra continued watching and playing while they fucked and came a few times. However, right after she came the third time, Nux and Etta glanced in her direction at the same time. Thyra's eyes widened in fear, and like a deer who noticed a lion near her, she ran away as soon as she can. Etta laughed out loud when she remembered the terrified look on her face. It was really fun to tease her, especially when she knew that Thyra was a cold-blooded, serious assassin who has taken countless lives. Soon, however, Etta's eyes fell on the window, and her smile faded away. "I'm late!" she screamed in panic as she stood up from the bed. Then she turned towards Nux, who was looking at her with a smile on his face, and questioned, "Why didn't you wake me up? I looked at you so peaceful when you were asleep, I didn't want to disturb you." She answered, "You looked so peaceful when you were asleep, I didn't want to disturb you." Seeing the teasing smile on his face, she was sure that he did it just so he could make fun of her. "Ugh, I'll be late," Etta groaned in frustration. Just as she was about to walk towards the bathroom, Nux grabbed her hand and pulled her into the bed. She tried to struggle. However, he hugged her from behind and muttered, "So what if you get late? You are the head maid, Etta. No one would say anything to you." "Ugh, Etta, let me go. I'm late. It's not good to be late, especially when I'm a head maid. I need to set an example for the others." Although she said that, she did not resist his hug at all. Rather, she moved her body close to his and enjoyed his touch. "Ho, since when were you so serious about your job? I thought that the only thing that you think about is new positions to be bound in." Etta's face turned red and she pouted. "Humph, who said that? I have to do a good job as a head maid, else I'll be replaced soon. You know how many people are trying to take away my position, don't you?" Etta questioned. Then, as Etta remembered Adrea, then a small smile appeared on Etta's face as she muttered, I think that once you become the king, I would slack off a little more. You won't take away my position as your head maid, will you, master?" Nux then tightened his hug around Edda, closed the distance between his mouth and her ear, and whispered seductively, "Heh, slack off. What a joke. Once I become the king, you would have to work for 24 hours a day. No slacking off. You will be forced to accompany me without any rest." Edda accepted his advances with a huge smile on her face. She really longed for that moment. Then she wouldn't have to do so much work. She would just stay near Nux and enjoy. She really wished that Nux becomes the king as soon as possible, and so that he can achieve that quickly, she's working hard as well. "Oh, I searched a little and found a perfect target for you." Then Edda smiled slyly and muttered, "And don't worry, I made sure she fits your taste." Your taste? You know my taste?" Nux questioned with a curious look. "Of course I know it. You love big breasts." She grabbed Nux's hand and placed it on her breast. "Why do you say that? Me, Felberta, Lane, all of us have big breasts." "What about Skyla then?" Nux questioned. "That girl can melt anyone's heart with her innocence and purity. It doesn't matter if she had big breasts or not, no one can not fall in love with her. It's simply impossible to resist her, so she doesn't count." Edda shook her head. Out of all the women around Nux, she liked Skyla the most. She was innocent, friendly, and cheerful. She was a lovely girl. Nux smiled as well. Skyla was cute, that was true. However, that doesn't mean that Edda was correct. He did not prefer large breasts over small breasts. He liked them all the same. Breasts were breasts. No matter if they were large or small. Suddenly his smile widened and he shook his head. Who was he trying to fool? Himself? Large breasts for life. Indeed, large breasts are the best. He then grabbed her firm breast and questioned, "So who are you talking about?" "Allura Skyfall." "Thyra, come here." Thyra, who had just woken up, heard Nux's voice in her head, and her face turned red. Yesterday's memories flooded her mind. "Did he see me yesterday?" she thought inwardly and panicked. Why is he calling me? I'm sure he saw me. I shouldn't have peeked on him. That was so lewd." Thyra's face continued to turn redder and redder. Her cold assassin image was really taking some heavy blows since she met Nux. Then Thyra quickly wore her clothes and walked towards Nux's room. Her mind was filled with how Nux's rod was going inside and outside Edda's private part, and how Edda was reacting to it. A few minutes later, she appeared in front of Nux's room and knocked. Knock, knock, knock. She knocked. "Enter." Thyra did as she was told and entered. However, as soon as she did, her face turned red. Nux just had his underwear on. He was practically naked. "Why did you call me when you were changing?" she questioned out loud as she closed her eyes. However, if one looked closely, there was a very little gap between her left eyelids. She was peeking at her. But nobody noticed that, so that didn't happen, okay? Nux smiled when he saw her reaction. He quickly wore all his clothes and muttered, Where did that cold and expressionless assassin go? What happened to you?" Suddenly Thyra frowned. Does he not know that I was peeking at him? She thought inwardly and panicked. No, he always has that hateful smile on his face. It seems that he doesn't really know. A deep sigh escaped Thyra's mouth. She was saved from embarrassing herself. Her face then turned to her usual expressionless one, and she questioned, "What did you call me here for?" "Huh? Did you return to normal? That's sad. I liked your previous face more." "It is not for you to decide how I act. Of course, you can use your weird magic to force me to act like that, but don't think I will change myself to fit your taste. Remember, I hate your guts." Thyra answered in a cold tone. However, Nux's smile didn't disappear. Nope, you definitely changed a little. The previous you would never have talked about so many random things. Thyra's cold facade threatened to break, however, she controlled herself and didn't say anything. Yes, she shouldn't talk about any random things, lest he would think that she had changed. She has not changed. What did you call me here for? Watched her for a little while and then questioned, Did you do what I told you to do? Are you talking about the checking for spies? Thyra questioned back. Yes. Yes, I did. I rechecked everyone's information. There is no change in their attitude. Their families are under our surveillance, and there are no unusual movements. I don't think there are any spies in the mansion. So that Nux doesn't know that I was peeking at him, she forced all the assassins to work and check everything out in the middle of the night. That is also the reason why she woke up so late. She was working all night. Good. It's good to have assassins as subordinates. Efficient indeed. Nux nodded to himself, and Thyra snorted. Can I go now? She didn't want to stay a second longer in this place. No, wait. I still want to ask something. What is it? Thyra questioned in a rushed tone. It's about last night. Nux muttered with a smile. Thyra's eyes widened and her face turned red again. Does he knows? She started doubting her previous judgment. What do you want to ask about last night? She stuttered. Nothing serious. I just wanted to ask if you slept well or not. Nux laughed. Thyra remained silent. She didn't know how to react to it. She can never understand what is going on with him. And what's that hateful smile on his face? Whether I slept well or not has nothing to do with you, she retorted in anger. Thyra then turned around and walked away. If you have nothing else to say, then I will be taking my leave now. Bam! She then slammed the door closed and left. I can now understand why you like to tease her so much. It's so funnin'. After she left, Felberta deactivated her conceal and laughed out loud. I told you it would be fun. Have I ever been wrong about something? Nux smiled as well. Felberta smiled seductively as she walked towards Nux and wrapped her hand around his neck. How can you ever be wrong? You are the smartest and most handsome man alive. Heh, your flattery does not amuse me, Nux muttered, as he wrapped his hand around Felberta's waist. Does it really not amuse you? Felberta closed the distance between their mouths and questioned. Heh. Nux smiled and sealed her lips. All right, let's go and eat now. Skyla and Lane must be waiting for us. After a short kiss, Felberta muttered. Nux nodded and carried her like a princess. He knew that she liked it a lot. Heh, treating me like a princess when you're about to meet a queen. Felberta laughed. Oh, are you jealous? Nux questioned. Jealous? My ass. I got a whole faction. She might be a queen in the palace, but here I'm the real queen, the queen who has your heart, Felberta declared proudly. I can't deny that. You are indeed my queen. Nux nodded. A satisfied smile appeared on Felberta's face as she muttered, It is good that you know about it. So, what did Thyra tell you about her? A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he muttered, She might be an interesting character. When are you going to meet her? Felberta curiously questioned. This evening. Concubine Allura, or Allura Skyfall, is a 1.7-meter tall woman. Just like her name, she has an alluring, sinful body and a perfect hourglass figure. White hairs, crystal blue eyes, perfectly carved face. A beauty indeed, Edda muttered. Oh, you make her sound so beautiful. She's very beautiful, Etta praised. Really? I'm excited to meet her. So, why did you choose her? Nux questioned. Allura Skyfall is nicknamed the bored concubine. She always tries to find something interesting in her life. It is as if she is bored of her life already. She hides her identity and randomly walks into the city to find something interesting, and she does that very often. She isn't arrogant like other concubines. Well, she is a little, but not to the degree compared to the other concubines. She talks to the servants normally and doesn't look down on them, but that's mostly because she tries to find something interesting in them. Approaching and talking to her is relatively easier compared to others. You just have to win her interest, and once you do that, you can meet her again in the future. However, if she doesn't find you interesting, you will lose the opportunity to talk to her in the future. Of course, you don't really need to think too much about it. I'll be surprised if a woman can resist you. Etta explained everything she knew about concubine Allura in great detail. It was clear that she was thorough in her search and worked hard. Nux kissed her forehead and then questioned, "So, how can I meet her?" Etta smiled as she lifted her chest in pride and answered, "You don't have to worry about that. As I said before, she likes to hide her identity and visits the capital city very often. And she's going to the Silver Moon restaurant in the evening." "Oh, isn't that where we met for the second time? It is a lucky restaurant for me." Etta smiled. "All right, I'm getting late now. I need to go." She then stood up and entered the bathroom. Nux smiled when he remembered his conversation with Etta. Right now he was wearing an expensive purple-colored coat over a white shirt and was standing in the Silver Moon restaurant. He observed the beautiful lady sitting in the corner of the restaurant alone, watching everything with a small smile on her face. She was Allura Skyfall, the royal concubine. He's as beautiful as Etta said, he thought inwardly, and admired her beauty. His golden eyes then shined brightly and her information appeared in front of his eyes. Name, Allura, Skyfall. Age, 47. Mana cultivation, master. Body cultivation, mortal. Race, human. Occupation, concubine of the King of Skyfall Kingdom. Talent, medium. LV, 32. HP, 400 out of 400. MP, 570 out of 570. STR, 40. AGL, 39. VIT, 40. STM, 40. INT, 57. DEF, 36. A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he started walking toward her. However, just as he was 10 meters away from her, he felt someone's killing intent. The person made it clear not to come close to her, or it won't end well. Of course, Nux just smiled and ignored the killing intent. He already knew who was behind it. 2 Grand Master Stage experts were protecting Allura in secret. The killing intent came from them. Nux had already sensed their presence when he entered the restaurant. This is also the reason why no bug roamed around such a beautiful flower. Of course, Nux was different. He intended to pluck that flower. "Can I have a seat? The rest of the tables are occupied," Nux questioned, and without waiting for an answer, he sat down. His 2 guards were about to jump on Nux and attack him. However, Allura secretly raised her hands and stopped them. She can see that this young man in front of her was a master stage cultivator just like her. However, he treated the 2 Grandmasters' killing intent as nothing but air. Although she wasn't a cultivation freak and found cultivation tedious, someone so young yet so powerful and courageous definitely gained her interest. She then glanced at the other restaurant tables and muttered with a smile, "More than 10 tables are free right now." Why do I not see them? By the way, you look really beautiful, young lady." "Oh. Do I look young to you?" Of course, you look no older than 16 to me. What a glib tongue you have. However, you remember that when you praise a woman, you shouldn't lie so blatantly. Everyone is not as easygoing as I am. I'm sorry. This is my first time doing all this, so I apologize for my inexperience. I will keep that in my mind from now on. First time doing what? First time trying to impress a beautiful woman. I do not believe that. Believe me. I do not believe you, but if it is really your first time trying to impress a lady, then you are definitely doing a good job. Oh, really? Wait, are you trying to say that I managed to... You are too impatient, kid. What you are doing right now is definitely enough to impress a normal girl, but not me. Oh, see, I'm still inexperienced. How about you teach me how to impress a woman while I pay for the food in return? Let me give the order. I'm sure you will like it. Allura kept smiling, but however suddenly she realized something. This man changed the topic very quickly. We were still talking about the free tables and why he didn't sit there before he changed the topic. She was completely trapped in his rhythm. You are not from here, are you? Concubine Allura questioned. She was definitely interested in this young boy in front of her. Not sexually, obviously. She was just bored, and she felt like this boy was a great way to overcome her boredom for a few hours. Oh, how did you know that? Nux questioned back. His eyes gleamed with interest as well. The two of them looked quite similar to each other at the moment. I have never seen you here before, and I am very positive that my eyes won't miss such a handsome man, Allura answered. Oh ho! Thank you very much for the compliment. And yes, you are correct. I am not from here. Where are you from? Allura questioned. I don't really belong to any place. My friends call me Bored Wanderer, since I am wandering around the world looking for something interesting, Nux answered with a smile. Allura narrowed her eyes when she heard him, his nickname. Wasn't it too similar to hers? Then she inwardly shook her head, thinking it was coincident, and continued. Oh, Bored Wanderer, huh? That's a nice name. So, how do you deal with your boredom? What interesting things do you do while you wander? I tried many things and then concluded, life-threatening adventures are the best way to deal with boredom. That's pretty extreme, don't you think? It is extreme. That's why it is such a great way to deal with boredom, Nux smiled. Oh, then what life-threatening adventures have you gone through yet? Allura questioned. The light in her eyes showed that she was very interested in this topic. Ha ha ha! Just a few days ago, I entered my enemy's house, sneaked around, and stole his treasures. I won't tell you the details. However, know that my enemy wasn't a normal person. If someone would have seen me, more than 2,000 soldiers would have come after me. Nux shifted his body towards her a little and whispered, And you are telling me all of this? What if I spill the beans and catch you? Your enemy sounds like an influential person. I'm sure he will reward me well. Allura smiled. Nux's smile widened as well, and he replied, Heh! That would lead to another interesting adventure of running away with you. Ho! Why would you run away with me? You think you can walk away unscathed after betraying my trust? Heh, think again. Nux could feel the two protectors glaring at him. However, he ignored them. They were nothing to him. Also, he believed that Allura wouldn't let them do anything. Ha 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 ha! Allura laughed out loud. You really like life-threatening adventures, huh? She muttered. I indeed do. That's why I'm talking to you in the first place, Nux nodded. What does talking to me have anything to do with this? Allura questioned. I don't know. I just have this feeling that you are not any normal person, and I am taking a big risk when I talk to you so casually. Allura narrowed her eyes again. This shouldn't be a coincidence anymore. Do you know who I am? She questioned. A beautiful lady sitting at a table in the Silver Moon restaurant, Nux answered. No, that is not what I'm talking about. I just feel like you know who I am, Allura muttered. Nux's eyes widened. Wow, that's a good pickup line indeed. It forms a connection with the other person without being too obvious. This subtle hint would later turn into a spark, and then the two of them will mate. What? Allura couldn't believe what she was hearing. What the heck does that mean? Is he saying that she was trying to woo him? And where did mating come from? What are they? Animals? That was so random. As I thought, you are good at this. I am glad that I took you in as my teacher. I feel like I will be an expert in wooing women after talking to you a few more times. Nux continued to nod. To her lies, Allura turned silent. She realized that he was trying to change the topic again. She asked him if she knew her identity, and he smoothly changed it to her teaching him how to impress women. You are good at this, Allura praised. Good at what? Nux questioned with a slight smile on his face. Allura's mouth twitched when she saw that expression. This man was still acting ignorantly. It is so obvious, but he is still acting ignorantly. This little boy was clearly teasing her. Suddenly, a scheming smile appeared on her face as an idea popped into her mind. How could she take it lying down? You just mentioned that you liked life-threatening adventures, right? She questioned. I do. Even though he didn't know where she was going with this, Nux nodded. You also mentioned that you feel talking to me so casually is a life-threatening adventure, Allura questioned again. I do, and again, Nux nodded. Then how about you do something even more life-threatening, even more thrilling? What is it? Tell me. How about you have tea with me tomorrow afternoon? Allura suggested. How is that? Nux frowned. However, just as he was about to question, she continued. But the tea will be in my own room. How about that? Do you dare? A small smile appeared on Allura's face as she questioned. Heh. Now if this little boy knew who I was, he would back away immediately. And if he didn't know her, I will tell him her identity and scare him. Ha! This was her way of getting back at him. You are still too young to deal with me, little boy, Allura muttered inwardly. However, something unexpected happened. A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he answered, That sounds fun. Why not? He agreed, and he agreed without a second thought. What did you say? Allura questioned in surprise. I said, It sounds fun. I will join you tomorrow afternoon, Nux answered. Do you even know who I am? Allura questioned. Again with this, huh? Do you really think your identity can scare me? Let me tell you, I am not scared of anything. Rather, the higher your background, the more excited I will get. Allura didn't say anything. After the initial shock, she was able to calm herself. She then observed the young man in front of her. From the looks of it, he doesn't really know who she was. It might be interesting, Allura thought inwardly. She really hopes to see what kind of face will he make once she reveals her identity. Oh, really? She questioned. Of course. Then I will be waiting for you tomorrow in the royal palace, Allura muttered with a small smile on her face, and Nux's smile disappeared. Royal palace? Nux stuttered, as his eyes widened in surprise. Allura's smile widened. This was the reaction she was looking for. Yes, this look, this nervous look, it was a lot better than that hateful smile from before. Yes, I am Allura Skyfall, the 7th concubine of the king of the Skyfall kingdom. Allura introduced herself with a playful smile on her face. Nux's eyes widened in horror. He then stood up, bowed a little, and muttered, I'll see you later. After saying that, he turned around and walked away without waiting for her answer. Allura, who saw him walk away as soon as she revealed her identity, laughed out loud. She didn't look down on him. It was a normal reaction. It is normal to be scared of the king of the country. Not many could walk away after offending him. She just found his reaction funny. With how he was talking and then how he reacted, it was amusing indeed. That was fun, she thought inwardly. Allura's smile faded when she realized something. Her source of entertainment was gone. She scared him away. How is she going to entertain herself now? How could she be so stupid to scare away such a great source of entertainment? She wanted to hit herself. She then sighed in defeat and started looking around, trying to find something interesting. However, her mind was still stuck on that young man. She regretted her decision. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore and stood up. Then she left the restaurant and walked toward the royal palace with a dejected look on her face. I really shouldn't have scared him away, she muttered out loud. As soon as Allura walked close to the royal palace, her two protectors appeared behind her, and one of them sneered. He acted like he was some sort of big shot, but he didn't even think a minute before he ran away with his tails between his legs. That man really got on his nerves, and he was really pleased when he saw him running away in fear. Indeed, what a gutless man, the other protector sneered as well. Heh, you two act like you are any better. Won't you run away with your tails between your legs if your opponent was the king of a country? Heck, you might run away even if you face a duke, let alone the king. Isn't that right, huh? Come on, tell me, Allura scoffed. She was bored, therefore she tried to tease her subordinates. This might be fun. However, her subordinates were familiar with her antics. They knew the more they tried to defend themselves, the more she will tease them. Therefore, they remained silent. I understand their thoughts, and snorted. Maybe she was destined to be bored today. She sighed. Lady Allura, you're back? While Allura was sighing to herself, she suddenly heard a voice. She turned around to look who it was and answered, Yes, Edda, I'm back. Oh, that is faster than usual, Edda muttered. Indeed, she sighed. Why do you look so dejected? Did you not find anything? Edda asked with a curious look on her face. She knew Nux and Allura would have met today. As far as she knew Nux and his way of doing things, Allura should be all smiles right now. But she looks completely different from what she expected. That's not it. I did find someone interesting. However, I ruined it due to my own stupidity. Allura muttered and sighed again. What happened? Edda questioned. Leave it. I don't want to recall it. Allura sighed again and didn't answer. The more she acted this way, the more curious Edda got. However, she didn't question any more. She would know it once she meets Nux. It's no big deal. Just as Edda was about to leave, Allura questioned, What about you, Edda? Where are you going? Just some business talks, nothing much, Edda lied. You think you can lie to me? Allura smiled. Business talks don't happen every day, right? I can't hide anything from you, can I, Lady Allura? Edda sighed in defeat. Since Allura was bored, she loves to hear about all the gossip flying around the palace. And since the head maid leaving the palace every night to meet someone was a gossip the servants talk about a lot, Allura knew about it as well. So, our beautiful head maid finally found someone, Allura muttered. A tinge of red appeared on Edda's face as she nodded. A big smile appeared on Allura's face. This was interesting. She finally found a new target. She could use this to relieve her boredom. So, who is it? What is his name? Is he handsome? How tall is he? What is his cultivation level? Allura shot a series of questions, but Edda just remained silent and looked at Allura with a straight face. Lady Allura, I won't tell you anything. Why? Allura questioned. She looked like a poor woman who was betrayed by the love of her life. Lady Allura, everyone in the palace knows about you. You'll keep on teasing me if I tell you anything. Also what? A small smile appeared on Edda's face as she replied, I have an inkling that you will know about him soon enough. What? Nux couldn't take the silence anymore and questioned. His girls have been staring at him for a while now. He thought that they would say something in a while, however, they all just kept staring. Nux noted that this happened once Edda joined the dinner. Before that, everything was fine. My lovely girls, can you tell me what happened? Why are you staring at me like that? Am I looking more handsome than usual? Nux questioned as he moved his hand through his hair. He was becoming a narcissist, the type of people he hated in his last life. But what can I do? I am just too handsome. He praised himself inwardly. How is our fifth sister? Finally Skyla broke the silence and questioned. Fifth sister? She is talking about Allura Skyfall, Filberta answered. How are you guys so sure that she will be your fifth sister? Nux questioned. The four of them glanced at Nux with a dull look on their faces. What? Has any woman ever escaped your clutches? Ever? Edda questioned, and the other three nodded continuously. Nux felt that these four were getting along very well, since everything they do looks so organized. It was as if they knew what the others are going to do. I mean, there is Anise, right? He answered. That was just because you weren't interested in her. Try asking her to sleep with you and see how she reacts. That girl has been bothering me for a while now, asking about you again and again, Edda snorted. Don't act so innocent. Any woman that enters your eyes end up laying on the bed next to you, Filberta blamed. Why are you making me sound like a sexual predator? Nux questioned. Isn't that what you are? Skyla questioned. Oi, oi, oi! What have you done to my cute, innocent Skyla? Nux questioned. Skyla, you should not spend time with them. They are affecting your innocence. You should stay with me from now on. He then turned to Skyla and muttered. No, Skyla is perfectly fine and loves to spend time with them. Filberta then placed her hand on Skyla's shoulder and muttered. Right, Skyla? She then turned towards Skyla and questioned. Skyla, however, glanced at Nux and questioned. Staying with you all the time? Skyla! Filberta, Lane, and Edda shouted. Oh, I meant, no, I love to spend time with them. She lowered her head with a small pout on her face. Seeing this scene, Nux laughed inwardly. It was good that they were getting along. Also, Skyla is very cute. So, how's Allura Skyfall? How did your meeting go? Filberta then brought back the initial question. A small smile appeared on Nux's face as he remembered the charming, white-haired lady. She's an amazing woman indeed, Nux muttered, as he started talking about what happened today and his impression of Allura Skyfall. About hours. Bam! 2 hours later, the door of Alger's room was smashed open, and Thyra entered. What is it this time? She questioned, clearly frustrated since Alger called her again. Alger, who saw the way she entered, smiled wryly. He couldn't do anything about her. Look, I don't have any interest in seeing your face again and again either, but I can't do anything. I'm just following orders, Alger muttered. Thyra scowled as she questioned. Is it that bastard again? If you were talking about Master Nux, then yes, he is the one who ordered me to call you. Why doesn't he just call me through that weird magic himself? Thyra questioned with a frown. Well, if you don't know, Master Nux is busy at this time of the day, Alger coughed awkwardly and answered. Thyra then remembered what she saw last night, and her face turned a little red. Of course, Alger couldn't notice that, since her control over her expressions was good. "So, why did he call me this time?" Thyra questioned, and this time, Alger's face turned sour. "Most of your assassins have 2- or 3-star weapons, right?" he questioned. "That is true," Thyra replied with a small smile on her face. She could guess where this was going, and she was very content with it. "Yes, so Master Nux ordered me to give you these 3- and 4-star weapons. He says that you can give them to the best assassins," Alger muttered, as he passed a few weapons to Thyra. Thyra kept them all in her storage ring and chuckled. "Ha ha ha! What a generous master!" "Generous my ass! These are all mine! Ah!" Before Alger could complete his sentence, he fell to the knees and screamed in agony. "These are not mine. It's Master Nux's. I am loyal! I am loyal! I am loyal!" A few seconds later, the pain finally stopped, and Alger sighed in relief. Thyra, who watched everything unfold, smiled. "This hateful man deserves it. Although that Nux is hateful as well, at least he is not stingy. He is still hateful nonetheless." Thyra snorted inwardly and muttered, "All right, if it is nothing else, I will take my leave." She then left the room, and Alger, who was on the floor, sighed. He really regrets sending those assassins after him. He started wondering what bad things he had done in his life that fate put him against Nux. He really regrets sending those assassins after him. Ah, my shitty luck. He then sighed, stood up, and walked towards his bed. He is tired. He needs to sleep. On the other hand, Thyra was walking in the hall, and soon she heard something. In an instant, she knew what she was. "No, I won't repeat the same mistake again," she thought, and walked. She walked towards the source of the voice. She walked towards Nux's room. I should check this out a little. Yes, I need to see if his women are being controlled by his weird magic, and I need to save them if they are. She thought inwardly, and appeared in front of Nux's door. Then, opening it a little, she started watching everything from that slight gap. "Ooh, new weapons! Are these all 3- or 4-star weapons?" An assassin girl walked forwards, her eyes shining in excitement. "Wow, these are so beautiful!" "Heh, Master Nux is generous. Generous indeed!" More and more assassins joined. Right now, Thyra was distributing the weapons Alger gave to her. However, there was a tinge of redness on her face. The assassins noticed that, but didn't dare to say anything. That was because they learned their lessons yesterday. Yesterday, Thyra had a similar expression on her face, and one of the assassins pointed it out. That assassin is still in the bed right now. From his injuries, everyone deduced that it would take him a week to recover, and that too only if he takes a healing potion every day. Poor man. However, his sacrifice saved the others, since no one dared to question the redness on Thyra's face. "All right, get in line, and all the assassins who have 4-star weapons, you guys stay away from here," Thyra ordered. A very few assassins had 4-star weapons. Most of the master stage assassins carried 3-star weapons, and the advanced stage assassins carried 2-star weapons. However, now master stage assassins can carry 4-star weapons, and the advanced stage assassins can carry 3-star weapons. This will be a big boost to their fighting capabilities. Therefore, they were all very excited. "Ha! Master Nux is such a generous master," an assassin muttered after he got his new weapon. "It's so easy to win you guys over, huh?" Thyra muttered. "It is not about being easy or difficult, Miss Juan. I just thought about it a little," the assassin replied. "Oh, what are you thinking about? Mind sharing it with us?" Thyra questioned. She wanted to know what was going on in his mind, maybe because she was confused about her current situation as well. "I remained loyal to most of the kingdom for most of my life, Miss One. I started killing people at the age of 8, all for the kingdom. I was even prepared to die for my kingdom. However, if I think about it now, it all started when the kingdom took me in and raised me as an orphan. I believe they gave me a life, but that was far from the truth. They did not raise us as humans, Miss One. They raised us as assassins. They raised us as tools. Ha! They changed our perception, made us narrow-minded. They practically brainwashed us. What's there to be grateful about? The assassin answered. The other assassins who listened to him nodded their head, and one of them stepped forward as she muttered, I agree with 12, Miss One. We are nothing but tools. The kingdom doesn't value us at all. Look at you, Miss One. Just like all of us, you gave your entire life to the kingdom as well. Heck, you worked even harder than us and rose to a good position. But what did you get in return? You couldn't even win their basic trust, Miss One. An orphan can't be trusted with such matters. That's what you got, Miss One. They sent a spy to keep their eyes on you. Your lifetime worth of loyalty counts to nothing in their eyes. Actually, I'm surprised you still have some loyalty left for the kingdom, the female assassin muttered, and another assassin continued. I agree with these two as well, Miss One. Another assassin nodded. Then Thyra glanced at the other assassins, and they all nodded as well. I understand your thoughts. However, that still doesn't explain why you're loyal to Nux. He used his weird magic to control you all. At least you had the freedom of your thoughts when you worked for the kingdom, but under him, you don't even have that. Just thinking about betraying him a little would activate that agonizing pain, and the pain will keep increasing until you get rid of those thoughts and think about being loyal to him. Isn't that worse? As you said, Miss One, Master Nux used his weird magic on us. We don't really have an option other than being loyal to him. As for comparing him with the kingdom, I feel that Master Nux is still better. The kingdom fooled us and tried to brainwash us, whereas he told us our position up front. About the pain, Miss One, don't forget we were trained to handle the pain ever since we were 12. The kingdom started torturing us at such a tender age. The kingdom just doesn't have the way to torture us in a more painful way, else I'm sure they would have used that on us as well. They tortured their allies, while Master Nox tortured their enemies. There is a big difference between that, Miss One, the female assassin answered. Also, I'm sure the kingdom is a lot richer than Master Nox. However, they still gave us 3-star weapons. On the other hand, Master Nox gave us 4-star weapons. He is generous indeed, 12 muttered as his eyes shined in excitement when he held the new dagger in his hand. Seeing him acting like that, Thyra just shook her head and sighed. Isn't it better to say that Nux bought you all with these weapons? You can say that as well. Our mentality has been twisted after being trained as assassins since we were children, Miss One. Our love for weapons is very high. A new weapon is a great way to win our favor. 12 laughed out loud as he held his dagger gently. Thyra smiled as well. They were so simple-minded. Also, Master Nux is not a normal man. I have a feeling that serving him will be a lot more beneficial to us than serving the kingdom. Suddenly 12 muttered with an unusually serious look on his face. What do you mean? Thyra questioned. Even the other assassins looked a little interested. I don't know how to explain this to you. I got it. So hear me out. Viscount Felberta, we all know she is related to Master Nux, right? No. Thyra wanted to say that she was being controlled by his weird magic as well, but after what she saw today, she started having doubts about it. Her face then turned a little red. She's not? However, she was brought out of her reverie when she heard 12's confused voice. No, I meant she is his woman, yes. Thyra nodded. 12 nodded back and questioned. And what is her cultivation level? A master stage Wait. Suddenly, Thyra realized that she has missed a very important detail. Yes, Viscount Felberta Elvi was among those nobles who preferred making contacts rather than focusing on cultivation. She was a mortal, however now she stands before us as a master stage cultivator. She's not alone. Her maids, Skyla and Lane, are master stage cultivators as well, and coincidentally, they are Master Nux's women as well. Don't you find this weird? All the assassins widened their eyes. Even Thyra was shocked. Yesterday when I went out, I did a background check on Master Nux. Didn't you suffer through that annoying pain due to that? An assassin couldn't help but question. It's not like I am trying to betray Master Nux, I'm just trying to find out more about him. The pain only occurs when you think about betraying him, 12 answered. Anyways, that's not important right now. So I did a background check on Master Nux and found out that he is an orphan and was a nobody before. The only thing good about him was his looks. He was just a mortal 2 months ago, and now he is a master stage cultivator. A master stage cultivator who can defeat a grand master stage cultivator, 12 revealed. The assassin's eyes widened in shock. They just couldn't believe what they were hearing. Even the greatest genius in the world couldn't do what Felberta and Nux just did. I do not believe this. How can this be possible? I think something is wrong here. An assassin blurted out. Yes, what if Viscount Felberta is behind this all along? What if she was hiding her cultivation before? It is easy for a viscount like her to hide a lover who was also a cultivator from the eyes of normal people. Another assassin answered. Thyra nodded. She agreed. Viscount Felberta might be behind everything all along. Then how do you explain Skyla and Lane? Those two are master stage cultivators as well. How can a mere viscount have 3 master stage cultivators serving her? And even though she does have those two as her servants, why would she be willing to share her man with them? Remember, Viscount Felberta is a noble. No matter how close she is with her maids, she would never share a man with others, especially commoners. 12 replied, and the assassins turned silent. Then what are you trying to say? Thyra questioned. She had to admit, this 12 was smarter than she thought. I think just like his weird magic to control us, Master Nux has a magic that can increase the cultivation of a person. That is the only reason why a viscount would choose a commoner as a man and not a boy toy. 12 revealed. OMG. Silence shrouded the room. No one was willing to believe what they heard. That is not possible. How can this be possible? I think something is wrong here. I think, Thyra denied. There is no way that is possible. Yes, this is just not possible, else he would have already taken control over the world. Yes, Master Nux would have already increased our cultivation as well. He could enslave thousands of nobles, and then could have increased their cultivation. This way he would have created a peerless army, and he would be undefeated. Many assassins stepped forward and rejected 12's theory. I am not saying that the magic is absolute. There has to be some kind of limit. For example, the number of people he can increase the cultivation of, or the maximum limit he could raise the cultivation stage of the person, or something like that. However, I'm 90% sure that something like that magic exists. Also, about the conquering the world, then 12 observed all the other assassins and muttered, "Who says that he doesn't plan to do it? He already knows the existence of the kingdom behind us. However, he still dared to act against us. He already knows that the 2 marquis houses are not loyal to this kingdom, yet we and they still exist and aren't wiped out yet, confirming that he hasn't reported anything to the royal palace. He is not scared of our kingdom. He is not loyal to the kingdom he lives in. He is strong. He has weird magic that is completely out of this world. Who says he doesn't plan to conquer the world? Why would he leave all of us alive? Why would he provide us with better weapons? There is no free lunch in this world. Who knows? He might be recruiting us as his subordinates. He might be laying low and cultivating his strength. He might attack when he's ready. He might take over the world soon. 12 answered, and everyone turned silent again. That is why I said it before. Following Master Nux might be better than following the kingdom. If we can prove our loyalty, not just because of the pain, but actually showing that we are willing to work for him by our own will, the benefits we will receive won't be small. The assassins then glanced at each other. It would be a lie to say that they weren't interested. 12's words made sense. His words were logical. What he said might be true. Even Thyra had the same thoughts. However, before she could think more, she heard a voice. "Thyra, come here." It was Nux's voice. Speak of the devil."